Chapter 2698. In just a short while he had obtained the beast core of 1,000 points. Lu Ming was excited and wanted to continue forward with Yu Linglong to kill more netherworld dragons. Boom! Suddenly, a powerful pressure came down from the sky. It was filled with a domineering aura. Then, a few young men slowly descended from the sky. Dongfeng Hao! Lu Ming squinted his eyes. There were 3 youths, and one of them was Huang Qinggan, who was ranked 98th on the empty god list back then. Of course, Lu Ming had defeated 3 people in a row and defeated the 51st ranked Scorpion Tiger. Huang Qinggan's ranking had dropped to 99th. Lu Ming was not concerned about Huang Qinggan, but the other 2 youths, especially a youth in black armor. This youth in black armor was tall and muscular. Black armor covered his entire body, and even his palms were covered by the armor. Only his head was exposed, and he was filled with a domineering aura. "Kuang Dao, it's little tyrant Kuang Dao," Yu Linglong exclaimed when she saw the youth in black armor. "It's him." Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. In this period of time, he had some understanding of some of the top people on the empty god list. Little tyrant Kuang Dao was ranked 5th on the empty god list. He was a terrifying figure and very powerful. In the entire outer sect, there were only a handful of outer sect disciples who could suppress him. Those in the top 10 of the empty god list all had shocking battle records and had defeated true gods before. This was terrifying. Like the Scorpion Tiger, it had only escaped from the hands of a true god realm expert before. It was completely different from being defeated. The difference was like heaven and earth. It was said that the top 3 on the empty god list had the strength to kill a true god realm expert. Little tyrant Kuang Dao was undoubtedly more terrifying. Although little tyrant Kuang Dao did not have the strength to kill a true god realm expert, he had defeated many true god realm experts, and his combat strength was unquestionable. "You are Lu Ming, the one who killed many of my floating light sect's junior brothers?" Kuang Dao's eyes were like a ferocious beast as he stared at Lu Ming with cold, murderous intent. "If people don't provoke me, I won't provoke them. If people provoke me, no matter who they are, I'll kill them all." Lu Ming replied coldly. Is that so? Kill them all? Let's see if you have the ability." Crazy Dao's face turned even colder. The aura on his body suddenly burst out. The violent pressure was like a mountain pressing down on Lu Ming. Whoosh! Whoosh! Huang Qinggan and the other young man moved in a flash and formed a triangle, surrounding Lu Ming and Yu Linglong in the middle to prevent them from escaping. "Lu Ming, I wasn't there when you fought so many people in the life and death arena. Otherwise, I wouldn't have allowed you to be so arrogant." His name was Lan Shang, and he was also an expert on the empty god list. He was ranked 33rd on the empty god list. "You talk too much. Don't you know that villains usually die from talking too much?" Lu Ming coldly glanced at Lan Shang. "You're courting death. Senior brother Kuang Dao, leave this brat to me." Lan Shang's eyes were cold as a war blade appeared in his hand. Unfortunately, they did not know that Lu Ming had already defeated Lu Yang and Fang Ya. Although Lu Yang and Fang Ya were ranked lower than Lan Shang on the empty god list, their combined strength was definitely above Lan Shang's. If he knew about it, he would not be so confident. "Sky Blade 10 slashes." Lan Shang shouted coldly. Blade Qi soared into the sky. A blue blade radiance was crystal clear and filled with terrifying power as it slashed towards Lu Ming. Buzz! Lu Ming's long spear shook as he lashed it out. Rumble! The long spear lashed out, and there was a violent explosion. Then, the long spear struck Lan Shang's blade radiance. "Break it!" Lan Shang began to roar, wanting to break Lu Ming's spear radiance. However, in the next moment, his eyes widened and he let out a miserable shriek. Not only did he fail to break Lu Ming's spear radiance, but his own blade radiance also shattered. The long spear was like a hot knife through butter as it struck Lan Shang's body. Lan Shang screamed as his body flew out like a cannonball. He brought along a long stream of air as he crashed into a mountain. The mountain crumbled and Lan Shang's body was lying on a pile of rocks. His body was twitching nonstop and he was already half dead. What? Huang Qing'an's eyes widened as he was almost scared to death. His body instinctively retreated. Even the eyes of the little tyrant Kuang Dao narrowed. Obviously, Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded his expectations. Although Lan Shang's combat strength was far from his, he was already a top expert in the empty god realm. However, he was now half dead after being struck by Lu Ming's spear. So you do have some strength. No wonder you're so arrogant. However, this strength is not enough in my hands. Kuang Dao opened his mouth and his divine force exploded. His tall figure looked even more mighty. Boom! Kuang Dao stepped out. His body was like a mountain as he pressed down on Lu Ming. Let me see how strong you are. Overbearing divine fist. Kuang Dao roared. The black armor on his body emitted a bright black light as he threw a punch at Lu Ming. His fist was wrapped in black armor. When he threw a punch, it was like a mountain pressing down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming was not afraid as he circulated his divine force. In his elixir field, for divine fires burned. Divine force gushed out and entered the long spear as he threw out a spear. Boom! Like two meteorites exploding. The sky shook violently and formed a terrifying shockwave that rushed out in all directions. Swoosh! A figure retreated a few dozen miles and stood in the air. His aura fluctuated. This figure was Kuang Dao. How can this be? Huang Qing'an was shocked to the core. Lu Ming's combat strength was shocking. Even Kuang Dao, who was ranked 5th on the empty god list, was pushed back by Lu Ming. Kid, not bad. Your strength is not bad. Take another blow from me. Overbearing divine fist. Fist of the world. Kuang Dao roared as the aura on his body became more terrifying. He threw out a punch, and the fist force was like a meteorite as it flew towards Lu Ming. The terrifying fist force continued to press toward Lu Ming, even though it was still a distance away. Peak of level 2 divine skill. Lu Ming saw the level of Kuang Dao's divine skill at a glance. Kuang Dao's divine power was definitely at the top of the king grade divine power, very close to the saint grade divine power. His divine skill had been cultivated to the peak of the 2nd level. In addition to his black armor, the combination of his divine power was shockingly strong. Even someone like Lan Shang would be killed with a single punch from this punch. First move of the 3 annihilating strikes, sky-piercing. Lu Ming used the first move of the 3 annihilating strikes. Although the 3 annihilating strikes was only at the peak of level 1, the power of the 3 annihilating strikes was already strong. With the support of the battle word secret art, the power was not weak at all. Swoosh! A meteor-like spear radiance shot out and collided with Kuang Dao's fist force. Rumble! An even more terrifying explosion occurred as the violent force swept out in all directions. Not good. Huang Qing'an's face changed as he retreated. Otherwise, he would be injured by the force. Chapter 26:99. In the sky, one could only see a ball of black light and a ball of purple light colliding with each other. However, after a few breaths, the black light suddenly retreated and shook violently. Bam! In the end, the black light dissipated and Crazy Dao's tall and strong body was thrown back. As he was thrown back, there were clanging sounds and sparks on the surface of his body. This was Lu Ming's remaining strength attacking the black armor on Crazy Dao's body. Boom! In the end, Crazy Dao crashed into a mountain like Lan Shang. However, his situation was much better than Lan Shang's. When he hit the mountain peak, he stomped his feet on the mountain peak. The mountain peak rumbled, cracked, and then exploded. Mad Dao used the force of the stomp to rush back into the sky. However, Crazy Dao was in a sorry state. His hair was disheveled and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. There were cracks on his black armor and blood was seeping out. How can this be? How can this be? On the other side, Huang Qinggan was trembling in fear. He couldn't believe it. Crazy Tao was ranked 5th on the Empty God list. His combat strength was almost at the peak of the Empty God realm, and he had defeated many rank 1 true gods. In Kongxian school, there were only a few Empty Gods who could defeat Crazy Tao. But now, in the battle between Lu Ming and Crazy Tao, Lu Ming actually had the upper hand. The clash between the two ended with Crazy Tao being injured. Moreover, Lu Ming had just entered the sect, and his cultivation was far from the peak of the Empty God realm. If Lu Ming's cultivation was at the peak of the Empty God realm, how terrifying would his combat strength be? Crazy Tao is indeed powerful. Looking at Kuang Dao, who was not far away, a thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, he could kill an ordinary rank 9 Empty God in one move. However, his attack was blocked by Crazy Tao. However, Lu Ming knew that Crazy Tao had not used his full strength. Crazy Tao's current combat strength was not enough for him to defeat a true god, even if they were ordinary true gods. You still have trump cards that you haven't used yet, right? Use them all. Otherwise, you're no match for me, Lu Ming said nonchalantly. He was looking forward to seeing the combat strength of the person ranked 5th on the Empty God list. This was because he hadn't used his full strength either. The battle formula hadn't been activated yet. Lu Ming, it looks like I've really underestimated you. Your strength is beyond my expectations. Now then, bear the full brunt of my fury. Kuang Dao's eyes were filled with madness. His rage was about to burst out. He did not know how many years it had been since an empty god had forced him into such a state. In Kongxian school, there were only a few empty gods who were stronger than him. He usually did not fight with those people. He was almost invincible among the empty gods. But now Lu Ming had made him bleed. He wanted to return the favor 10-fold, 100-fold. Rioting skill. All of a sudden, Crazy Tao let out a roar. His hair stood on end, and his aura erupted like a volcano, increasing by a large margin. This is a secret skill that temporarily increases combat strength. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Overbearing divine fist, conquering the world. Crazy Tao roared. He was like a mountain as he pressed down on Lu Ming. Both of his fists were like mountains. Wang, wang. Lu Ming waved his long spear, and spear shadows that were as thick as mountains shot out. Boom, boom. There were continuous explosions in the sky as the two of them fought fiercely. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 10 blows. What an amazing secret skill. My combat strength has doubled. In the midst of the fight, Lu Ming judged that Crazy Tao's secret skill had doubled his combat strength. It was very similar to the battle formula. However, Crazy Tao's secret skill was naturally incomparable to the battle formula. For a secret skill like Crazy Tao's, there were no side effects. Moreover, its limit was to double one's combat strength. However, there was no limit to the battle formula. As Lu Ming continued to comprehend it, the power of the battle formula would become stronger. Now, Lu Ming was able to triple his combat strength. In the future, it was possible for him to triple his combat strength, quadruple his combat strength, quintuple his combat strength, 6-fold his combat strength, and so on. The battle formula in his sea of consciousness was like a treasure that could be unearthed endlessly. Kill, kill, kill. Crazy Tao roared. His long hair danced in the wind. His aura was wild, and his killing intent was as cold as a knife. His secret skill was indeed flawed. There was a time limit. Once the time limit was up, it would drop to its previous level. Therefore, he had to kill Lu Ming before the time limit was up. Clang, clang. The two of them exchanged a few blows. The battle was intense. It seems like this is your limit. I won't waste my time with you, Lu Ming said coldly. Then the battle formula was activated. Boom! Lu Ming's combat strength increased sharply. With a sweep of his spear, he broke through Crazy Tao's fist force and sent Crazy Tao flying. How can this be? Crazy Dao was shocked. It was unbelievable. Until now, Lu Ming had not used his full strength. This kind of combat strength was abnormal. It was more abnormal than any monster he had ever seen. Apocalyptic triple strike, sky piercer. After repelling Crazy Dao, Lu Ming immediately used the apocalyptic triple strike. It turned into a dazzling spearlight and attacked Crazy Dao. No, block it. I must block it. Facing Lu Ming's attack, Crazy Dao's face changed drastically. He felt the threat of death. This strike could very well kill him. Black gold secret art. Crazy Dao roared. His body emitted a black light. A layer of black, metal-like light emerged from his body. This was another kind of divine skill. It was a defensive divine skill. After using the defensive divine skill, Crazy Dao continued to punch. Finally, a huge fist force blasted towards Lu Ming. Boom! The fist force was directly dispersed. The spear light bombarded Crazy Dao's body. Crazy Dao's body shook violently. He was sent flying like a meteor. In an instant, he was sent flying thousands of miles away. Puff! He vomited blood. His defensive divine skill was penetrated. The black armor on his body shattered. A big hole appeared in his chest. However, he was not dead. He managed to block Lu Ming's attack. Run! Crazy Dao only had one thought. He used his full strength and even burned his divine power. His whole body was like a ball of fire as he rushed towards the distance. His speed was astonishing. In the blink of an eye, he was tens of thousands of miles away. This guy's life-saving ability is really strong. Lu Ming shook his head slightly. He was a little surprised that he did not kill Crazy Dao in one move. However, Crazy Dao's life-saving ability was indeed strong. He used a secret technique that increased his combat strength, an offensive divine skill, a defensive divine skill, and that armor together to block Lu Ming's killing blow. Moreover, Lu Ming did not cultivate a speed-type divine skill. His speed was limited, and he might not be able to catch up to Crazy Dao. Then, Lu Ming looked at Huang Qingan. Baidu searching 81 Chinese network. No advertising message. Chapter 2700. Lu Ming's gaze suddenly turned towards Huang Qingan, causing Huang Qingan's face to turn pale. Lu Ming, don't kill me. Huang Qingan's face was filled with fear as his voice trembled. He had never dreamt that Crazy Dao would lose to Lu Ming and be forced to run away by Lu Ming. At this moment, his legs were trembling, and he even forgot to run away. Don't kill you? You just said that you wanted to kill me. Lu Ming said coldly as a cold killing intent surged out of his body and enveloped Huang Qingan. No. Huang Qingan screamed and turned to run. Lu Ming didn't move and stabbed out with his spear. A spear light crossed thousands of miles and stabbed towards Huang Qingan. Huang Qingan's defense was pierced through like tofu. His body was pierced and blood spurted out. Lu Ming, you'll die a horrible death. The Chosen will not let you go, Huang Qingan roared and then breathed his last. Lu Ming's expression was calm. He came to the top of the half-dead Lanshang and stabbed the other party to death while the other party was in despair. Lu Ming would never be merciful to his enemies. As long as there was a chance, he would kill until the other party trembled in fear. Let's go, Lu Ming said as he walked past Yulinglong. Lu Ming, your strength is really shocking. You've already surpassed me. Yu Linglong followed Lu Ming's footsteps as she blinked her eyes and asked curiously, I was lucky and learned a secret technique to increase my battle strength. Lu Ming casually gave an excuse. The two continued to fly forward. However, after flying for a while, they didn't encounter a single nether dragon. Instead, they encountered quite a few nether dragons. Obviously, there were no more nether dragons in this area. Even if there were, they would have been killed by others. The two of them went deep into the nether dragon's secret realm, heading towards its depths. The terrain became more and more desolate. Roar! Roar! In the distance, A thunderous roar pierced through the heavens. More than a dozen nether dragons leapt over with shocking speed. They seemed to have discovered them from far away. These nether dragons are strange. We haven't discovered them, but they seem to have discovered us from far away. Yu Linglong asked curiously. Lu Ming was also a little surprised. This was indeed the case. Several times in a row, it was always the nether dragons that took the initiative to attack them. And each time, there would be 7, 8, or even a dozen. But no matter what, this was a good thing. At least they didn't have to waste time looking for it. But in the next moment, Lu Ming and the others' expressions changed. In the distance, roars and howls sounded again, rising and falling. Then the void trembled and numerous nether dragons appeared in the distance. There were at least 100 of them. More than 100 nether dragons stepped through the air and charged towards Lu Ming and the others. Their auras were like mountains and seas. So many nether dragons, run! Yu Linglong shouted and turned to run. Her reaction was extremely fast. However, Lu Ming's reaction wasn't any slower than hers. He also turned and ran. What a joke! There were too many nether dragons. There were more than 100 of them, and each of them was invulnerable. Their only weakness was their neck. With so many nether dragons charging at them together, no matter how strong Lu Ming was, he would probably be torn apart. Roar! 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 Behind them, the nether dragons roared and chased. The two sides, one running and one chasing, crossed tens of thousands of miles in the blink of an eye. Save me! Yu Linglong yelled because there were other figures in front of her. They were the other outer disciples of the Kongxian school. This guy is very unkind. This was Lu Ming's evaluation of Yu Linglong. Obviously, Yu Linglong wanted to drag others down to distract the nether dragons. Of course, Lu Ming naturally followed closely behind Yu Linglong. It's the nether dragons. Nether dragons, there are so many of them. Don't come over. When the outer disciples saw the nether dragons, they were overjoyed. However, when they saw more than 100 nether dragons charging at them, their faces turned pale. They screamed and ran. Don't run. Let's work together and fight these nether dragons. Yu Linglong yelled. It'd be strange if we didn't run. Little girl, don't come over. Scram! Those people roared and ran faster than anything else. Let's split up with them and distract the nether dragons. Lu Ming transmitted to Yu Linglong. Yu Linglong nodded, and the two flew in another direction. This way, if the nether dragons were attracted by those people, the pressure on them would be much lighter. However, what they didn't expect was that the nether dragons didn't even look at them. The 100 or so nether dragons still chased after Lu Ming. Nether dragons, you can't play like this. Lu Ming was speechless. These nether dragons seemed to be fixated on them. Battle character art, activate. Lu Ming's heart stirred as he constantly activated the battle formula. Not long after, he successfully activated the battle character art to triple his combat strength. After activating the triple combat strength, Lu Ming's speed increased by a notch. Let's go! Lu Ming pulled Yu Linglong and rushed forward. This way, they gradually pulled away from the nether dragons. After a while, they finally shook off the nether dragons and found a quiet place to meditate and recover their divine power. After recovering their divine power, the two began to discuss. That's strange. Why are those nether dragons so fixated on us? Yu Linglong was puzzled. Lu Ming shook his head. He had no idea about this as well. Could it be that there's something on us that's attracting the nether dragons? Lu Ming said, What's attracting the nether dragons? Yu Linglong's eyes flashed, but the two couldn't think of anything on them that was attracting the nether dragons. After a while, the two left this area and continued deeper into the nether dragon mystery realm. But what made them speechless was that not long after, they attracted another group of nether dragons. They could only run. After escaping, they didn't dare to be too obvious. They carefully approached the mystery realm from another direction. This time, more than 10 nether dragons attacked them. They weren't afraid of more than 10 nether dragons. After fighting for a while, they killed the nether dragons and obtained their beast cores. In the following time, they wandered around this area. Whenever they encountered a large number of nether dragons, they would turn and run. If there were only a few, they would stop and hunt. In the blink of an eye, they had been in the nether dragon mystery realm for a month and a half. They had only been in here for 3 months. Half of it had already passed. However, they had also gained a lot. Lu Ming already had more than 200 beast cores. If converted to points, that would be more than 20,000 points. He was getting closer and closer to 50,000 points. The nether dragons in this area were attracted by them in batches and slowly killed. Finally, they had killed almost all of them. The two left this area and continued deeper into the nether dragon mystery realm. Baidu searching 81 Chinese network O. No advertising message. Chapter 2701. A few hours later, they arrived at a huge canyon. Be careful. There might be nether dragons here, Yu Linglong said softly. The two of them retracted their auras and carefully walked into the canyon. After this period of fighting, Lu Ming had a rough understanding of Yu Linglong's combat strength. This girl's combat strength was shockingly strong. Lu Ming judged that she was at least above the crazy Dao. If she was an outer disciple, she would at least be in the top 5 of the empty god list. The two of them walked forward, but they did not encounter a single nether dragon. This canyon was unusually quiet. The two of them were surprised. According to their previous experience, nether dragons usually like to stay in places like this. Soon, they reached the end of the canyon. In front of the canyon was an endless plain with green grass that was taller than a person. A light breeze blew, and a fragrance assailed their nostrils. The two of them arrived at the plain and walked on the grass. Sha, sha, sha. Suddenly, there was a rustling sound in the distance. Look, what's that? Yu Linglong suddenly pointed to the front of the plain. At this moment, Lu Ming also noticed the difference. In that direction, the green grass was like a wave that was undulating and spreading towards them. There's something in the grass. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. There was something walking in the grass which caused the waves. Moreover, the range was shockingly large. Sha, sha, sha. The sound became clearer and clearer. The waves were moving at an extremely fast speed towards Lu Ming and Yu Linglong. That's Lu Ming's expression changed. He could finally see clearly what was in the green grass. It was something that looked like a dragon bone. It was not big, only a meter long and half a meter tall. It was like a small dragon bone. However, on top of the dragon bone, there was a blood-red flower. The most terrifying thing was that on top of the flower, there was a large mouth full of fangs. It was terrifying. Dragon bone flower. A few words popped up in Lu Ming's mind. Their trip to the nether dragon secret realm this time had 2 main objectives. One was the beast core of the netherworld dragon, and the other was the dragon bone of the dragon bone flower. Each one was worth 100 points. However, there were simply too many dragon bone flowers. At a glance, the entire grassland was shaking. There were at least a few hundred of them. Whoosh! One of the dragon bone flowers shot toward Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. Let's test its power. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He gripped his spear and charged forward, testing out the power of the dragon bone flower. Whong! The long spear trembled as it swept towards the dragon bone flower. However, the dragon bone flower's dragon tail swept out and collided with the long spear. Dong! A violent tremor rang out as the dragon bone flower was sent flying. It smashed into the ground, wiping out a large patch of green grass. However, after shaking the flower, it stood up again, completely unharmed. However, Lu Ming's long spear was vibrating nonstop. What a powerful battle strength! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The power of this dragon bone flower was actually not any weaker than the nether dragon. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, there were at least a few dozen dragonbone flowers that charged toward Lu Ming and the others. Many of the dragonbone flowers' mouths opened and closed, biting toward them. Lu Ming's long spear constantly stabbed out, sending a few dragonbone flowers flying. However, due to a moment of carelessness, the long spear was bitten by a dragonbone flower's teeth. A row of teeth marks immediately appeared on the long spear. What a terrifying bite! This was a low-grade, 9th-tier divine artifact, and it actually had teeth marks on it. Retreat! Lu Ming shouted. Together with Yu Linglong, they turned and ran. There were too many dragonbone flowers. At a glance, there were at least a few hundred of them. They were no match for them. Surrounded by so many dragonbone flowers, they would probably die. The two of them frantically retreated back into the valley. However, at this moment, their expressions changed drastically. The reason for that was because, at that moment, many figures had appeared in the ravine. Nether dragons. They were all nether dragons. At a glance, there were at least a few hundred of them, filling the valley. They had been surrounded. This was a trap. The nether dragons and dragonbone flowers had actually cooperated to dig a hole for them to jump into. Roar! 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 The nether dragons roared, their eyes ferocious as they charged toward Lu Ming and the others. Charge out! Lu Ming roared. At the same time, he continuously activated the battle character art. Soon, he successfully tripled his battle strength. Furthermore, his divine artifact had changed to a mid-grade, 1st-tier divine artifact battle sword. Kill! Lu Ming roared as he slashed out, slashing the head of a nether dragon. The nether dragon was sent flying by the violent force. It collided with the other nether dragons, causing 7 to 8 of them to fly out. It was clear that Lu Ming's sword was very powerful. At the same time, Yu Linglong also attacked with all her strength. One moment, her whip was like a sword, and the next moment it was like a spear. However, no matter how strong the two of them were, there were too many nether dragons and dragonbone flowers. Moreover, their defenses were shockingly strong. These nether dragons and dragonbone flowers charged toward the two of them as if they didn't care about their lives. Bang! Yu Linglong was careless and was swept by a dragonbone flower's tail. Her delicate body trembled as a wound appeared on her body, causing her to spit out blood. Careful! Lu Ming came to Yu Linglong's side. A scarlet gold battle armor appeared on his body. It was the divine skill, 9-layered scarlet gold armor. At the same time, Lu Ming's battle sword continuously slashed out. In an instant, hundreds of sword lights shot out. However, the nether dragons and dragonbone flowers charged forward without fear of death, attacking Lu Ming. 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. Although Lu Ming's battle strength was strong, he was still constantly hit. The sharp claws of the nether dragon, the fangs of the dragonbone flower, and the tail of the dragonbone flower constantly bombarded the reddish-gold armor on Lu Ming's body. The reddish-gold armor vibrated continuously, as if it would collapse at any time. Their situation was precarious. Die! Lu Ming attacked continuously with his sword. A few sword gleams pierced the necks of the nether dragons, killing a few of them. 2 more sword lights stood on the dragonbone flower's stem and cut it in half. The dragonbone flower also died on the spot. The stem was the dragonbone flower's weakness. Once the dragonbone flower died, the scarlet-red flower would quickly wither, leaving behind a meter-long dragon bone. However, there are too many nether dragons and dragonbone flowers. They densely surrounded the two of them. The two of them couldn't charge out at all. Crack! Cracks appeared on Lu Ming's scarlet gold battle armor. A terrifying force entered Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's face paled as he spat out a mouthful of blood. The scarlet gold battle armor couldn't hold on any longer. Are we going to die here today? Yu Linglong's face was as white as snow. Impossible. How can I be killed by some mindless monsters? Kill, kill, kill. Lu Ming roared. His face was filled with unyielding determination. He pushed his potential to the limit, and his divine power crazily circulated. Baidu, search Dong 81 Chinese network square meter. No advertising message. Chapter 2702. Lu Ming didn't give up. He pushed his potential to the limit and fought against the nether dragons and dragonbone flowers. Suddenly, his body shone with a reddish-gold light. It was much brighter than before. The scarlet gold armor that had appeared on his body was originally filled with cracks, but at this moment those cracks had all disappeared. The scarlet gold armor shone brightly, and it looked even more solid. He had broken through. The 9-layered armor had broken through at the crucial moment. Lu Ming had already cultivated the 9-layered crimson gold armor to the peak of the first layer. He had been stuck at the peak of the first layer for some time. However, at this moment, after a fight, his potential was stimulated and he finally broke through. After breaking through to the second layer, the armor's defensive power had increased greatly. It had temporarily blocked those attacks. However, Lu Ming wasn't happy at all. Their defense had increased, but they still couldn't break out. Their offensive power hadn't increased. They were still surrounded by the nether dragon and the dragonbone flower and were constantly attacked. Lu Ming tried his best to protect Yu Linglong. However, if this continued, even with the defensive power of the crimson gold armor, it would not be able to hold on for long. It would be broken soon. Linglong! Just then, a loud shout came from the sky. Rays of sword light fell, slashing at the nether dragons and dragonbone flowers beside Lu Ming. These rays of sword light were powerful. They sent many nether dragons and dragonbone flowers flying. Then a figure rushed in. It was a handsome young man in a snow-white robe. Wu Zifeng, why are you here? Why are you here? Seeing this young man, Yu Linglong was very surprised. I came to find you. I heard that you might have entered the nether dragon mystery domain, so I came to find you. My efforts didn't let me down. I finally found you. The young man rushed to Yu Linglong's side. Why are you so stupid? You rushed in to die. Be careful! Yu Linglong exclaimed. Nether dragons and dragonbone flowers were constantly attacking them. Wu Zifeng waved his sword to meet the attack. Sword light burst forth, sending a few nether dragons and dragonbone flowers flying. Such strong combat power. That's divine power. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This Wu Zifeng actually controlled Saint-grade divine power, and the power of his divine skills was also very shocking. He was only a level 9 empty god, but his combat power was far stronger than Crazy Dao. However, Wu Zifeng's name wasn't on the empty god list. The weakness of the nether dragon's neck and the dragonbone flower's stalk, Lu Ming reminded them. Wu Zifeng glanced at Lu Ming and dragonbone flowers. Instantly, a few nether dragons and dragonbone flowers and dragonbone flowers and dragonbone flowers. With the addition of Wu Zifeng, the pressure on them decreased slightly. However, it was still very difficult for them to charge out. Roar! Roar! On the other side of the valley, the roars continued, making their faces turn ugly. Even more nether dragons were charging over. On the other side of the grassland, rustling sounds could be heard. More dragonbone flowers had arrived. What's going on? Why are there more and more nether dragons and dragonbone flowers? Their attacks are crazy, as if they don't care about their lives. When I first came in, I wasn't that crazy. Wu Zifeng exclaimed. It was easier for him to kill his way in. But now it was much harder for him to kill his way out because the nether dragons and dragonbone flowers were crazy and wanted to keep them here. Looking from afar, the three of them were surrounded by the nether dragons and dragonbone flowers. There was no way out. Pum! Pum! Lu Ming was hit continuously. The crimson gold armor vibrated continuously and cracks appeared on it once again. Then, more and more cracks appeared. Pum! Another dragon's sharp claw pierced through Lu Ming's defense and scratched Lu Ming's body. It tore off a piece of flesh from Lu Ming's body. Die! Lu Ming's eyes were red as he stabbed his sword into the nether dragon's neck. Blood sprayed out and mixed with Lu Ming's blood. But at this moment, something strange happened. Runes that looked like small snakes appeared on Lu Ming's body. They intertwined and covered Lu Ming's body. Nether Dragon Blood Curse. This was the Nether Dragon Blood Curse that the Kongshan School's sect master had placed on Lu Ming's body. Whoosh! The moment the Nether Dragon Blood Curse appeared, the Nether Dragon's blood was completely absorbed by the Nether Dragon Blood Curse. At this moment, Lu Ming felt a violent energy erupt from his body. At the same time, a violent evil intent filled Lu Ming's heart. Kill! Lu Ming roared and slashed out. Poof! This slash split the Nether Dragon's head in half. The Nether Dragon's defense was shocking, but at this moment, it couldn't block Lu Ming's slash. The Nether Dragon's blood was completely absorbed by the Nether Dragon Blood Curse, and Lu Ming's energy became even stronger. Kill, kill, kill! Lu Ming's eyes were red, and his killing intent soared. His battle sword continuously slashed out, killing several nether dragons in succession. What's going on? On the side, Yulinglong and Wu Zifeng were dumbfounded. How did Lu Ming's battle power suddenly increase? He became invincible. Roar! 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 The nether dragon and dragonbone flower roared like thunder, becoming even more violent. Pairs of red eyes stared greedily at Lu Ming as if they were looking at a rare treasure. Then they crazily charged at Lu Ming, completely ignoring Wu Zifeng and Yulinglong. I understand now. These nether dragons and dragonbone flowers are crazily attacking us because of the curse on his body. Yulinglong suddenly shouted. Indeed, what a strange curse. Just what kind of curse is this? It looks incomparably evil. Wu Zifeng also frowned. No, he's about to be drowned. Let's go save him. Yulinglong shouted, wanting to save Lu Ming. Don't come over. You guys go, charge out first. At this moment, Lu Ming's voice rang out. Now, Lu Ming also understood what was going on. These nether dragons and dragonbone flowers were all attacking them because of Lu Ming. More accurately, it was because of the Nether Dragon Blood Curse. It could be said that they were completely attracted by the Nether Dragon Blood Curse. It was no wonder they didn't even need to look for nether dragons on their way here. There were so many nether dragons coming for them. Nether Dragon Blood Curse, Nether Dragon Secret Realm, Nether Dragon Beasts, Dragonbone Flowers. There was definitely a connection between all of these. No, we came together. If we have to leave, we have to leave together, Yulinglong shouted. If you stay here, you'll only be a hindrance. You guys go first. I have a way to charge out. Lu Ming roared and slashed his sword, killing a nether dragon. Once the nether dragon died, the Nether Dragon Blood Curse absorbed its blood, causing Lu Ming's energy to become even more berserk. But Lu Ming had a faint feeling that this wasn't a good thing. After absorbing the nether dragon's blood, the Nether Dragon Blood Curse would most likely become even stronger. If he wanted to break free from it, it would become even more difficult. Baidu Search Translator, Zephizi Editor, Zephizo. No advertisement. Chapter 2703. However, they couldn't care about that now. They had to get out first. Linglong, he's right. Let's get out first. He might be able to escape, Wu Zifeng said to Linglong. Let's go. Lu Ming roared. Lu Ming, you have to get out. Yulinglong gritted her teeth and rushed in another direction with Wu Zifeng. As expected, the Nether Dragon and Dragonbone Flower didn't care about them. They easily got out of the canyon and arrived at a mountain peak outside. They looked from afar and waited for Lu Ming. They waited for more than 10 minutes. Why isn't he out yet? Yulinglong was anxious. He's out. Suddenly, Wu Zifeng's eyes flashed. In the canyon, a figure was rushing over. It was Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming was covered in blood. His entire body was covered in the Nether Dragon Blood Curse. As soon as he got out of the canyon, he turned into a ray of light and rushed into the distance. Roar! Roar! Behind him, The nether dragon and dragonbone flower chased after him like a tide. However, they were slower than Lu Ming. Let's follow him. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng followed from another direction. The nether dragon and dragonbone flower weren't as fast as Lu Ming and soon lost him. They slowly stopped and retreated. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng flew. After a while, they finally found Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming was lying in a small stream, unconscious. On his body, the nether dragon blood curse was like small snakes swimming around. Slowly it disappeared. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng brought Lu Ming to a cave and waited patiently. This is a disciple of your Kongshan school? His strength is really shocking. Wu Zifeng sized up Lu Ming and said, "It is indeed shocking. Moreover, he just joined not long ago." Yu Linglong said, "Just joined not long ago?" Wu Zifeng's eyes widened in surprise. The two chatted as they waited. A few hours later, Lu Ming finally woke up. Pain. When Lu Ming woke up, his first feeling was intense pain all over his body. Lu Ming got up, took out a few healing elixirs, and swallowed them. He began to refine the medicinal effects to recover. A few days later, Lu Ming finally adjusted his condition to peak condition. The injuries on his body had also fully recovered. "Lu, are you all right?" "Yu Linglong. I'm fine now. Thank you for your help." Lu Ming smiled. He had fainted outside previously. If Yu Linglong and the rest were not around, it would have been very dangerous. He might have died under the fangs of the nether dragon. "I should be the one thanking you," Yu Linglong hurriedly said. "That's right. We should be thanking you. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to break out of the encirclement of the nether dragon and the dragon bone flower." Wu Zifeng also hurriedly stepped forward and held Yu Linglong's hand. He looked at Lu Ming warily. Yu Linglong blushed slightly and said, "Lu Ming, let me introduce you. This is my fiancé, Wu Zifeng." "I see." Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. So Wu Zifeng was Yu Linglong's fiancé. No wonder he risked his life to save her, and no wonder he was wary of him. However, Wu Zifeng's character should be considered pretty good. If other people saw their fiancé together with other people, they would probably reveal killing intent. Moreover, he could see that Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong's relationship was not bad. Of course, he would not be narcissistic enough to think that Yu Linglong had approached him because she was interested in him. It was more likely out of curiosity. "Brother Wu, you're too polite. I'm only letting you go because I'm confident." Lu Ming smiled. "By the way, Brother Lu, what's with the curse on your body?" Wu Zifeng changed the topic. Lu Ming knew that Wu Zifeng was asking about the nether dragon blood curse. However, the nether dragon blood curse was created by the Kongshan school's sect master. Lu Ming naturally could not reveal it. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. "I accidentally found it when I was exploring an ancient ruin. There was nothing strange about it, but I don't know why it acted up today." Lu Ming casually lied. "I see. Brother Lu, I feel that this curse is extremely evil. It's bad for you after a long time. You should think of a way to get rid of it," Wu Zifeng suggested. His expression was sincere, and it did not seem like he was putting on an act. "Thank you, Brother Wu, for your reminder," Lu Ming said. "Lu Ming, I feel that those nether dragons and dragonbone flowers are here for your curse. We should be careful in the future to avoid being surrounded." Yu Linglong said, "It's a pity that we're still too weak. Otherwise, we could kill a large number of nether dragons and obtain points." Lu Ming said, "That's right. Why didn't I think of that?" Yu Linglong's eyes lit up. "My cultivation has already reached the peak of the empty god realm. I didn't break through because I wanted to enter the nether dragon secret territory. However, I can break through after entering this place. I can break through to the true god realm now. Once I reach the true god realm, it will be much easier to kill nether dragons. That's right. I can break through to the true god realm too." Wu Zifeng nodded. All right, then we'll cultivate here for a while. After we break through, we'll go hunt nether dragons. Lu Ming's eyes also lit up. All right, we'll work together. We'll split the beast cores and dragon bones equally. Yu Linglong said. The three of them discussed and started to cultivate. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng started to break through to the true God realm. On the other hand, Lu Ming began to cultivate in another direction. His cultivation had just broken through to level 5 empty God realm. It was basically impossible for him to break through in a short period of time. The only way he could increase his strength was through the divine skills and the battle word formula. Lu Ming realized that after the previous battle, not only had he broken through to the 9th layer crimson gold armor, but he had also made great progress in the 3 strikes of extinction and the battle word formula. Lu Ming felt that the battle word formula needed to be activated about 8 times to triple his combat strength. The success rate had increased to 1 in 8. The 3 strikes of extinction was not far from breaking through to the 2nd layer. It seemed like it could break through at any time. Lu Ming immediately focused on the 3 strikes of extinction. Indeed, half a month later, the 3 strikes of extinction successfully broke through and reached the 2nd layer. The 3 strikes of extinction had reached the 2nd layer, and its attack power had undoubtedly increased by a large margin. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, coupled with the 2nd layer of the 3 strikes of extinction, the 9th layer crimson gold armor, and the tripling of his combat strength, Lu Ming's strength would reach a shocking level. If he met Mad Dao again, he would be able to crush his opponent in one move if he went all out. At that moment, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's auras were getting stronger and stronger. Time flew by, and another half a month passed. Boom! Boom! Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's auras exploded at the same time. The two of them broke through to the true God realm at almost the same time. Baidu searching 81 Chinese network square meter. No advertising message. Chapter 2704. After a month of cultivation, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng had finally broken through the bottleneck and reached the true God realm. They took out large amounts of God crystals and started to absorb them. Piles of divine crystals turned into tangible divine qi that was absorbed by the two of them. Not long after, their auras stabilized and they hid themselves. The two had completely stabilized at the 1st level of the true God realm. I finally reached the true God realm. Yu Linglong smiled and waved her fist. Let's go kill the nether dragons. Lu Ming, you're in charge of being the bait. Yu Linglong was confident. Before she and Wu Zifeng had broken through, their battle power was already very shocking. Now that they had reached the 1st level of the true God realm, their battle power had increased greatly. Naturally, they were full of confidence. Lu Ming rubbed his nose. How did he become the bait? There was no time to lose. There was less than half a month until the 3-month deadline. The 3 of them left and charged toward the canyon. But when they reached the canyon, they didn't see a single nether dragon. It's that move again. There are many nether dragons lying in ambush. Yu Linglong spread out her spiritual sense and found many nether dragons. Now that her cultivation had broken through, her spiritual sense was more sensitive and could cover a wider area. That was why she could find those nether dragons. Clearly, the nether dragons wanted to use the same trick again. They would wait for them to enter the canyon and surround them with the dragon bone flowers. However, Lu Ming and the others were bold and had no fear. They might as well beat them at their own game. The 3 of them pretended that they hadn't found the nether dragons and entered the canyon. After passing through the canyon, they returned to the grassland. The grassland had been a mess after the battle, but in just a month, lush green grass had grown again. Sha, sha, sha! In the distance, rustling sounds came. They're here. Yu Linglong's eyes lit up. In the distance, ripples appeared in the sea of green grass. Then, hundreds of dragon bone flowers appeared. Shwa, shwa, shwa. Some of the dragon bone flowers shot out like bolts of lightning and charged toward Lu Ming's group attacking fiercely. Kill! Yu Linglong had just made a breakthrough in her cultivation. She was eager to give it a try and rushed over. This time, she did not use a whip. Instead, she took out a battle sword, which was a middle-grade divine artifact. Whoosh! The sword radiance flashed like a fairy flying from the heavens. Then, the 2 dragon bone flowers were cut in half by Yu Linglong. They died on the spot and lost all signs of life. As for the dragon bones, Yu Linglong put them away with a wave of her hand. Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng also moved, rushing towards the dragon bone flower. In the process of rushing out, Lu Ming activated the battle formula with all his might. First, he activated double combat strength. Puff! Lu Ming swung his sword and sent a dragon bone flower flying. Then he swung his sword again and cut off the stem of another dragon bone flower. As soon as the 3 of them attacked, they killed more than 10 dragon bone flowers in a row. It was as if they had angered the remaining dragon bone flowers. The remaining dragon bone flowers let out ear-piercing screams and rushed toward Lu Ming's group. At this moment, Lu Ming had successfully activated triple combat strength. First move of the 3 annihilating strikes, sky-piercing. Lu Ming used his battle sword to perform the first move of the 3 annihilating strikes. A sword radiance that was hundreds of miles long flashed past. Puff! 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 More than 30 dragon bone flowers were cut in half by Lu Ming. Now, Lu Ming had activated triple combat strength and reached the second move of the 3 annihilating strikes. This move was Lu Ming's strongest move. Its power was shocking. In one move, he had killed more than 30 dragon bone flowers. However, the amount of divine power consumed was also shocking. With my divine power, I can unleash the 3 annihilating strikes in a few moves. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. His weakness was that his cultivation rank was not high enough and his divine power was not strong enough. Although he had cultivated other king-grade divine powers, and his divine power was much stronger than other cultivators of the same cultivation rank, he was only a rank 5 empty god realm martial artist. Although the 3 annihilating strikes were powerful, he could not use them to his heart's content. Similarly, he could not use the 9 stacks of golden armor to his heart's content. After the stems of the dragon bone flowers were cut off, the dragon bone flowers fell to the ground. Lu Ming used his divine power to collect them. What shocking power! Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong were shocked by Lu Ming's move. Wu Zifeng was knowledgeable and had seen many powerful geniuses. However, this was the first time he had seen someone as powerful as Lu Ming. They gathered their thoughts and focused on killing the dragon bone flowers. With the combined strength of the 3 of them, it was much easier for them to hunt down the dragon bone flowers now. It was a complete one-sided slaughter. Compared to a month ago, it was a world of difference. Soon, more than 150 dragon bone flowers were killed by them. Roar! Roar! At that moment, a roar came from afar. The nether dragon had appeared. The space shook as the nether dragon charged towards them. Let's do it! The 3 of them worked even harder to kill the dragon bone flowers. They used all their techniques to kill more dragon bone flowers before the nether dragon arrived. Whoosh! Lu Ming once again used the first move of the 3 annihilating strikes, sky slicing. In one move, more than 30 dragon bone flowers were killed. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng also used their ultimate moves. Their fighting strength was shocking. A large number of dragon bone flowers died at their hands. There were originally 300 dragon bone flowers. Before the nether dragon arrived, there were less than 100 dragon bone flowers left. Roar! Roar! A large group of nether dragons, at least 300 of them, charged towards Lu Ming's group. There were even more behind them. Lu Ming's group moved and charged towards the nether dragons. They began a fierce battle. Nether dragons died at their hands one after another. Although the nether dragons and dragon bone flowers were strong, they had weaknesses. Now that their strength had increased, it was not too difficult to kill them. This battle lasted for half an hour. A few hundred nether dragons and a few hundred dragon bone flowers had been killed by the three of them. Only a few dozen nether dragons were still attacking them. Lu Ming, catch! At this moment, Yu Linglong waved her hand, and a divine pill flew towards Lu Ming. Spirit strengthening pill. Lu Ming saw it and knew that it was a spirit strengthening pill. However, the medicinal fragrance was thick, and the medicinal effect was many times better than the ones Lu Ming had obtained before. This was a supreme grade spirit strengthening pill. The market price was shockingly high. Refining a spirit strengthening pill could allow one to quickly recover divine power. Lu Ming swallowed it, and the spirit strengthening pill immediately turned into medicinal energy. It flowed through Lu Ming's body and was quickly absorbed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's divine power, which had almost dried up, quickly recovered. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng both consumed supreme-grade spirit strengthening pills to recover their divine power. There were only a few dozen nether dragons and a few dragon bone flowers left. They did not need to use their ultimate moves. They slowly fought while recovering their divine power. The supreme-grade spirit strengthening pill was extraordinary. Soon, the 4 divine fires in Lu Ming's dantian burned once more. His divine power had recovered by 80%. After recovering a large portion of their divine power, they were invigorated. Their attacks became fierce, and the remaining nether dragons and dragon bone flowers were quickly killed by them. Baidu searching 81 Chinese network O. No advertising message. Chapter 2705. After killing all the nether dragons and dragonbone flowers, Lu Ming's group of 3 smiled. This was a huge harvest. There were more than 700 nether dragons and dragonbone flowers. If the 3 of them split it evenly, each person would get more than 200. That was more than 20,000 points. Lu Ming wasn't far from 50,000 points. However, they still had one more thing to do. That was to dig out the nether dragon's beast cores. They could just take the dragonbone flower's bones, but they had to dig out the nether dragon's beast cores themselves. Let's get to work. Yu Linglong's eyes narrowed as she smiled. She picked up her treasured sword and started digging. The 3 of them worked together and collected the beast cores one by one. However, at this moment, a beam of light dashed toward Lu Ming at a terrifying speed. Roar! A roar shook the entire valley. The force was like a storm, and like an incomparably sharp blade, it slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, watch out! Watch out! On the side, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng cried out, but it was too late for them to help. Danger! Danger! At this moment, Lu Ming's entire body tensed up. His hair stood on end as he felt an extremely dangerous aura. Without any time to think, he instinctively used the 9-layered scarlet gold armor. A scarlet gold armor covered Lu Ming's entire body. Boom! A huge claw covered in scales viciously clawed at the 9-layered scarlet gold armor. A huge explosion rang out, and the scarlet gold armor shook violently. Cracks immediately appeared on its surface. Lu Ming's body flew out like a cannonball, crashing into a wall of the valley. A huge crater appeared on the wall. Uft! Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood, his face pale. At the same time, he finally saw what had attacked him. Nether dragon, another nether dragon. Furthermore, this nether dragon was twice as large as the other nether dragons. Its eyes were blood red, and its aura was frighteningly cold as it stared fixedly at Lu Ming. At this moment, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng finally reacted. In a flash, they stood in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming, are you all right? Yu Linglong asked. It's fine. Lu Ming wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and flew out of the pit to stand shoulder to shoulder with Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. Luckily, he had activated the 9 stacks of crimson gold armor in time. Luckily, his 9 stacks of crimson gold armor had broken through to the 2nd tier. Otherwise, he would not have been able to block the nether dragon's attack. That nether dragon's attack was shockingly powerful. It was at least 5 times stronger than the nether dragons he had encountered before. It's the Dark Dragon Beast King. Wu Zifeng frowned. The Dark Dragon Beast King. Lu Ming and Yu Linglong's eyes lit up. The Dark Dragon Beast King's beast core would definitely be worth a lot of points. The Dark Dragon Beast King's body emitted a faint glow. It kept growling, its eyes cold. Boom! Suddenly, the Dark Dragon Beast King's 4 limbs kicked up a gust of wind as it charged towards Lu Ming's group. Watch how I kill you. Yu Linglong was the first to attack. Her body flashed, and she dashed forward, stabbing her sword towards the Dark Dragon Beast King's neck. However, the Dark Dragon Beast King's body was extremely agile. It twisted slightly and dodged the attack. Yu Linglong's sword stabbed into the Dark Dragon Beast King's scales. Sparks flew everywhere, but it did not break through the Dark Dragon Beast King's defense. Whoosh! Next, the Dark Dragon Beast King reached out with its sharp claws towards Yu Linglong. Yu Linglong's expression changed slightly. She quickly pulled back her sword to block. The two exchanged a blow, and Yu Linglong's figure floated back. The Dark Dragon Beast King roared, wanting to chase after Yu Linglong. However, Wu Zifeng had already arrived. The long sword in his hand released rays of swordlight as he stabbed towards the Dark Dragon Beast King. However, the Dark Dragon Beast King's sharp claws continuously slashed out, blocking all of Wu Zifeng's swordlight. The two clashed a dozen times and both retreated. What power! Wu Zifeng was shocked. This Dark Dragon Beast King's cultivation should be at the first level of the true God realm, but its power wasn't any weaker than his. One had to know that Wu Zifeng was a peerless genius. His divine power was at the holy grade, and his battle power far surpassed those of the same level. However, this Dark Dragon Beast King was able to clash head-on with him. Whoosh! On the other side, Lu Ming had also arrived. At this moment, he had activated the battle character art to triple his battle power, bringing his strength to the peak. First move of the 3 Armageddon strikes, sky-shattering. Lu Ming directly used his most powerful move. The sword gleam surged, as if it was breaking through the void, piercing toward the neck of the nether dragon. Roar! The Dark Dragon Beast King roared and suddenly turned its head, avoiding the attack and using its head to take Lu Ming's attack. Boom! A terrifying explosion sounded out. Lu Ming was pushed back by a wave of power, but the Dark Dragon Beast King's body was also pushed back. A shallow crack appeared between its eyebrows, but it wasn't cut open. Its defense was too shocking. Lu Ming's all-out attack couldn't break through the Dark Dragon Beast King's defense. The Dark Dragon Beast King's defense is too strong. With our attack power, we can't break it. We can only kill it by attacking its vitals. Let's work together to restrain it, then take the opportunity to attack its vitals. Wu Zifeng transmitted to Lu Ming and Yu Linglong. Lu Ming and Yu Linglong nodded. The 3 of them formed a triangle, surrounding the Dark Dragon Beast King. The Dark Dragon Beast King wasn't afraid at all. Its eyes became even more ferocious. With a roar, it pounced towards Lu Ming. The Dark Dragon Beast King was still staring at Lu Ming. Clearly, it was because of the Dark Dragon blood curse. Kill! Lu Ming roared. Without any fear, he charged towards the Dark Dragon Beast King. At the same time, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng also attacked. They used their divine skills, attacking the Dark Dragon Beast King. The two sides engaged in a chaotic battle. In terms of attack power, Lu Ming's group could completely suppress the Dark Dragon Beast King. However, the Dark Dragon Beast King's defense was too shocking. As long as it avoided the vitals on its neck, Lu Ming and the others could attack the rest of its body. Then it would take the opportunity to counterattack. Thus, the two sides were tied. After a few dozen moves, there was no clear winner. Lu Ming, Zifeng, I'll use my full power to restrain it. You two take the opportunity to attack its vitals. Yu Linglong transmitted to Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng. Then she waved her hand and put away her battle sword, replacing it with two soft whips. Dragnet! Yu Linglong cried. Her hands formed a divine art. The two whips danced like two snakes, intertwining to form a huge net that enveloped the Dark Dragon Beast King. In an instant, the Dark Dragon Beast King was covered. Roar! The Dark Dragon Beast King let out an earth-shattering roar. It struggled violently, waving its sharp claws, causing the net to twist and shake. Attack! Yu Linglong cried. Heavenly Star Strike! Sky Piercer! Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng used their strongest attacks at the same time, stabbing towards the Dark Dragon Beast King's vitals. Chapter 2706. Two beams of dazzling sword light pierced towards the Nether Dragon Beast King's neck. Their power was terrifying. However, Wu Zifeng's sword light was even stronger. After all, Wu Zifeng was a peerless genius. He had divine-grade divine power, and his cultivation had reached the first rank of true god. Lu Ming had sovereign divine power and had also cultivated the universe, myriad Tao art. He had cultivated the other three types of king-grade divine powers, and his divine power was extremely strong. However, he was only at the 5th rank of the empty god realm. Even with all these advantages, he couldn't make up for the huge difference in cultivation level. Thus, the Nether Dragon Beast King was even more wary of Wu Zifeng's attack. It tried its best to twist its head to avoid being hit. Then, it swung out a sharp claw towards Wu Zifeng's sword. However, this way, its weakness would be exposed to Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming shouted as he became one with his sword. The sword light pierced towards the Nether Dragon Beast King's neck. Success! At that moment, Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng's eyes lit up. Something's not right. However, Lu Ming felt that something was amiss. When his sword pierced the Nether Dragon Beast King's neck, it didn't pierce through as he had expected. Instead, it was blocked. Lu Ming felt as though he had stabbed into an iron wall. Ding! A clear and crisp sound could be heard. Thereafter, a terrifying force erupted from the neck of the Nether Dragon Beast King. Lu Ming's body shook violently and he flew out directly. He flew for hundreds of miles before he came to a stop. He felt his vital energy and blood surging all over his body, as if his body was about to crack open. How can this be? Lu Ming was shocked. Wasn't the Nether Dragon Beast King's neck a weak point? However, his sword couldn't pierce through the Nether Dragon Beast King's neck. Not only that, a terrifying force exploded out. This force was stronger than the Nether Dragon Beast King's own strength. Lu Ming couldn't figure it out. Could it be that the Nether Dragon Beast King didn't have any weak points? Then how could they fight? Roar! 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 The Nether Dragon Beast King was enraged by Lu Ming's attack. It kept roaring, and the light on its body became even brighter. Roar! The Nether Dragon Beast King roared as it opened its mouth and shot out a light beam. Yu Linglong's heaven and earth net was shattered by this power. Yu Linglong's body trembled, and she coughed up a mouthful of blood. She quickly retreated, her face pale. Roar! The Nether Dragon Beast King continued to roar. Another beam of light shot towards Yu Linglong. Watch out! Wu Zifeng arrived at Yu Linglong's side in a timely manner. He brought Yu Linglong with him and dodged the light beam. Boom! The beam of light struck the walls of the canyon, causing them to explode. A huge hole appeared in the wall, and the rocks in the hole were reduced to dust. Terrifying! What terrifying power! Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng's expressions changed. The Nether Dragon Beast King's Nether Dragon Beast King's Nether Dragon Beast King was too powerful. It wasn't something they could block. The Nether Dragon Beast King had such a killing move. Roar! 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 The Nether Dragon Beast King continued to roar as it shot out light beams at Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng. The three of them didn't dare to take it head-on. They could only use their movement techniques to dodge. Huge craters had been blasted out of the canyon and the land. It was a complete mess. The Nether Dragon Beast King was invincible. Its body was invulnerable and its attack power was shocking. Not to mention them, even a fourth-stage true god wouldn't be able to do anything to the Nether Dragon Beast King. This kind of attack consumes a lot of energy. We just have to dodge for a while. Once its energy runs out, it'll be dead. Yu Linglong transmitted. Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng nodded. They naturally understood this logic. They guessed that the Nether Dragon Beast Kings, Nether Dragon Beast Kings, Nether Dragon Beast Kings, Nether Dragon Beast King would definitely not be able to last long. The three of them did their best to dodge. Once its energy ran out, wouldn't they be at their mercy? 10 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming and the other two's expressions were extremely ugly. The Nether Dragon Beast King had been attacking like this for 10 minutes. It had shot out at least 1,000 light beams, but it didn't show any signs of stopping. It also didn't show any signs of exhaustion. How was this possible? The three of them were dumbfounded. This defied common sense. The Nether Dragon Beast Kings, Nether Dragon Beast Kings, Nether Dragon Beast King seemed endless. This monster, let's retreat. Yu Linglong already wanted to retreat. Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng were also helpless. They weren't willing. There were still many Nether Dragon Beast cores that hadn't been taken out yet. If they left now, it would be a huge loss. However, in the face of such a monster, they could only retreat. The three of them gathered and flew in the same direction. However, the Nether Dragon Beast King had no intention of letting them go. It roared and chased after them. Its mouth was like a machine gun, shooting out a beam of light. The three of them hastily dodged. Like this, the Nether Dragon Beast King caught up. The three of them had ugly expressions. They wanted to leave, but they couldn't. What to do? The three of them quickly thought of a countermeasure. Oh, just at this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed slightly, because at this moment he felt that the battle character in his sea of consciousness was faintly glowing. There was a mysterious aura coming from it, and at this moment Lu Ming felt a chill in his eyes. That was because a wave of energy from the battle character had entered Lu Ming's eyes. When this wave of energy entered Lu Ming's eyes, Lu Ming immediately realized that there was something strange about the Nether Dragon Beast King's body. On the Nether Dragon Beast King's neck, there was a bright ball of light that seemed to contain a terrifying amount of energy. And the reason why the Nether Dragon Beast King could keep shooting out beams of light was because of this ball of light. Previously, Lu Ming couldn't see it at all. It was only after the battle character's energy entered his eyes that he could see it. In the next moment, Lu Ming's jaw dropped in shock. He could see that ball of light clearly. The source of the ball of light was actually a word. It looked like the word for quantity, the word for quantity of energy. Looking at the font, it was extremely similar to Lu Ming's battle character. No way. Could this quantity and battle have the same origin? That's why the battle character in my sea of consciousness reacted. Lu Ming thought as he dodged the Nether Dragon Beast King's attacks. At this moment, the battle character in his sea of consciousness became brighter and brighter. In the end, it started to sparkle. At the same time, Lu Ming's sharp senses caught that the quantity character on the Nether Dragon Beast King's neck vibrated. It seemed to have sensed the battle character in Lu Ming's body. Only Lu Ming could sense all of this. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng couldn't see or sense it. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Baidu search Tian 81 Chinese Network O. No advertising message. Chapter 2707. Lu Ming finally understood why this Nether Dragon Beast King was so powerful and had seemingly endless energy. It was all because of the word quantity. It was also because of this that the Nether Dragon Beast King's neck, which was supposed to be its weak point, was no longer a weak point. It could even explode with shocking power. I can take down this word. At this moment, this thought suddenly appeared in Lu Ming's mind. There was no reason for this. However, this thought was very strong. Lu Ming had a strong feeling that as long as he could get close to it and borrow the aura of the word battle, he would be able to remove the word quantity. Let's take a gamble. Lu Ming made his decision. Miss Linglong, Brother Wu, can you guys help me stall this Nether Dragon Beast King? I have a way to break its defense. Lu Ming transmitted to Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. You have a way. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were both surprised. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. Okay, then we'll help you stall it. Let's take a gamble. Wu Zifeng was very decisive and nodded. Let's go. Yu Linglong charged towards the Nether Dragon Beast King. Her figure flashed rapidly, and her figure filled the sky. She successfully dodged the Nether Dragon Beast King's attack. Wu Zifeng also used his movement technique and rushed over. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's attacks successfully attracted the Nether Dragon Beast King's attention. It attacked even more of its attacks towards Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. Lu Ming also took the chance to charge towards the Nether Dragon Beast King. Bright Moon Heart. After getting close to the Nether Dragon Beast King, Yu Linglong cried out. She went all out and used a terrifying secret technique. Originally, with her cultivation, she couldn't use this secret technique. If she used it, she would be injured. But now, she could only take a gamble. A full moon suddenly appeared and pressed down on the Nether Dragon Beast King. 9 heavenly mountains. Wu Zifeng also used a secret technique. His body seemed to become as heavy as a mountain. Divine power gushed out, transforming into a mountain that pressed down on divine King Yulong. The two of them used a secret art at the same time, causing the Nether Dragon Beast King's body to stiffen and stop in midair. Lu Ming, attack! Yu Linglong shouted. The Nether Dragon Beast King continued to explode with terrifying energy. It charged in all directions, wanting to break through Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's secret technique. Their secret techniques began to vibrate vigorously. Given their cultivation, they would not be able to hold on for too long. Whoosh! At this moment, Lu Ming was close to the Nether Dragon King. However, Lu Ming put away his sword and reached out with his hand to grab the Nether Dragon King's neck. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were flabbergasted. Before, Lu Ming's full-force attack with his sword had not been able to break through the Nether Dragon Beast King's defense. Now he was going to grab it with his bare hands. How was that possible? Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were confused, but they could only choose to believe in Lu Ming at this moment. Battle word, it's up to you. Lu Ming said in his heart. As Lu Ming's hand approached, the battle word in his sea of consciousness shone brightly. Energy poured into Lu Ming's hand. PFF. Lu Ming's hand pierced into the Nether Dragon Beast King's neck. Success! Lu Ming was overjoyed. Roar! At this moment, the Nether Dragon Beast King let out an earth-shattering roar. It struggled wildly, and then a terrifying energy erupted from its body. This energy was like a shockwave that could destroy everything. Bam! Bam! Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's secret techniques directly collapsed. Their bodies violently shook as they were struck by this terrifying power. Their bodies were like cannonballs as they were sent flying. They crashed onto the ground and slid for a long distance. They constantly coughed up blood as cracks appeared on their bodies. The two were heavily injured at the same time, and their auras withered. Grab it! The moment the Nether Dragon Beast King released the shockwave, Lu Ming roared and grabbed the quantity word on the Nether Dragon Beast King's neck. Afterward, Lu Ming was also hit by the shockwave and his body was thrown backward. Even though Lu Ming had activated the 9-layered crimson gold armor, the armor still shattered in an instant. Lu Ming's body heavily smashed into the canyon wall. He was heavily injured. Roar! 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 The Nether Dragon Beast King stood in the air, constantly roaring. Its aura was insane. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's faces were pale. At this moment, they no longer had the strength to fight back. If the Nether Dragon Beast King continued to attack, they would most likely die here. But fortunately, after the Nether Dragon Beast King roared a few more times, its aura rapidly withered. Then its huge body fell to the ground, shattering a huge rock with a boom. Dead. The Nether Dragon Beast King was dead. There wasn't any aura left. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng both let out a sigh of relief. Success. They knew that they had succeeded. They had finally killed the Nether Dragon Beast King. Linglong, are you all right? Wu Zifeng staggered to Yu Linglong's side and asked with concern. I'm fine. Let's hurry and heal. Yu Linglong said. She took out a healing pill, swallowed it, and began to heal her injuries. The Nether Dragon Beast King seemed to be dead, but this place wasn't safe. At this moment, they were both heavily injured. If others or other Nether Dragons or Dragonbone flowers came, they would be in danger. At this moment, Lu Ming had already forgotten to heal. He was inspecting his sea of knowledge. After Lu Ming caught hold of the word quantity, it integrated into his palm. It then ran to the side of the word battle, flashing and emitting a dazzling radiance. The aura is the same. It's practically the same as the battle character. They're definitely of the same origin. Various thoughts flashed across Lu Ming's mind. Kid, why are you looking at me so closely? What do you want? Suddenly, a voice rang out in Lu Ming's mind. Who's talking? Lu Ming was startled. He hastily looked around, but he didn't see anyone. It's me talking. Who else is talking? Weren't you looking at me the whole time? That voice rang out again. This time, Lu Ming finally found where the voice came from. It was the quantity character. Oh my, the character has gained sentience. Lu Ming shouted. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng both looked over, confused. A character could actually speak. At this moment, Lu Ming was confused. What sentience? Bullshit. I'm one of the origin ancient characters. I'm born with intelligence. Isn't it normal that I can speak? That voice rang out again. Lu Ming was 100% sure that it came from the quantity character. It really is an origin ancient character. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He had once heard White Fang mention that the battle character was also one of the origin ancient characters, and the quantity character in front of him was also one of the origin ancient characters. Lu Ming's heart thumped. He had experienced the mysteries of the battle character. It was truly mysterious. Chapter 2708. Comprehending the battle character technique could strengthen his attacks and battle awareness. No matter what godly technique it was, its power would increase by a notch under the battle character technique's buff. In addition, as he continued to comprehend the battle character formula, he would be able to double, triple, or even quadruple, or even 5 times his combat strength, or even higher. Mysterious and unfathomable, the quantity character was also one of the origin ancient characters. How mysterious could it be? Lu Ming was looking forward to it. Kid, consider yourself lucky. I've stayed on that nether dragon for countless years. That beast doesn't have the slightest bit of intelligence. How could it be worthy of me? It has no future. Previously, I coincidentally bumped into you guys. Furthermore, I saw that you were in control of war. So I simply left the nether dragon and ran over to you. Otherwise, how could you have easily killed that nether dragon? The quantity character technique continued. Lu Ming secretly rejoiced. It turned out that the quantity character technique looked down on the Nether Dragon King. Because Lu Ming had mastered the battle character technique, the quantity character technique had left the Nether Dragon King. Otherwise, they would really be in danger. Right? Since you have intelligence and can speak, why can't the battle character technique speak? Lu Ming asked curiously. Who said he doesn't know how to communicate? He's just being coquettish and pretending to be deep. The quantity character technique said disdainfully. You talk too much. Suddenly, a deep male voice sounded. It was clearly the voice of the battle character manual. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. The battle word sutra really had spirituality and could speak. However, Lu Ming had never heard of the battle word sutra speaking, even though he had obtained it for so many years. In the past, he had thought that the battle character technique was just an ancient character and couldn't possibly have intelligence. Now he realized that he was completely wrong. Hey, what did you say? You dare say that I'm talking nonsense? Say it again if you dare. The quantity character technique roared, his voice sharp. Luckily, this voice only sounded in Lu Ming's mind. Those outside couldn't hear it. Nonsense. The battle formula's deep voice sounded again. You're pissing me off. I can't be bothered with you. The measuring character formula seemed to be very angry. The characters were trembling, which was very human-like. Lu Ming found it rather interesting. Oh, right, the battle character formula can increase one's combat strength. What's so special about your quantity character? Lu Ming finally couldn't help but ask what was on his mind. I'm very useful. Brat, let me tell you something. Each of the origin ancient characters have their own mysteries. Since I'm the character for quantity, I'm naturally related to energy. The quantifying formula said. Something to do with energy? Lu Ming was surprised. That's right. That nether dragon from before was constantly attacking. Did you feel that its energy was endless? The quantifying formula said. That's right. Is it because of you? Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he asked. Of course it's because of me. My first effect is that you can store the energy you cultivate in my body. When you need it, you can directly borrow this energy. I'll store as much as you can, the quantifying formula said. I can actually do that. Lu Ming's eyes immediately lit up and his heart pounded. He now had a weakness, which was that his cultivation was too weak and his divine power wasn't strong enough. When he used divine techniques, he had to be careful and not use them carelessly. Otherwise, his divine power would be easily exhausted. But with the quantifying formula, as long as he stored more divine power in the quantifying formula, he wouldn't be afraid of exhausting his divine power in a battle. If that was the case, his strength would increase by another level. That was because he would be able to unleash his ultimate move at all times. He finally knew why the Nether Dragon King's energy, light beam, could be shot out continuously. It was because it usually stored a large amount of energy. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Brat, do you think this is all I have? You're wrong. The quantifying formula's slightly proud voice sounded again. What other mysteries do you have? Lu Ming's heart pounded wildly. Let me tell you, I can absorb many different kinds of energy. When all kinds of energy are absorbed into my body, I can transform them into your divine power and directly improve your cultivation. The quantifying formula said again. What? This time, Lu Ming almost shouted in shock. The quantifying formula could absorb different kinds of energy and then transform them into the divine power he needed, directly improving his cultivation. This function was simply heaven-defying. How is it? Isn't my function very heaven-defying? Your battle formula is much better, right? The quantifying formula chuckled proudly. This, Lu Ming didn't know how to answer. Although the quantifying formula was heaven-defying, when the battle formula was cultivated to a high level, one's combat strength could continuously double, which was also extremely heaven-defying. The two were not easy to compare, as they each had their own strengths. Brat, you're in luck. I'll stay with you for the time being. In the future, follow me, and I'll make sure you live a good life and become an expert in the universe. The quantifying formula chuckled. You seem to have followed a lot of people in the past, but they're all dead. So, it's better to keep a low profile. At this time, the battle formula's deep voice sounded. Hey, are you deliberately going against me? Are you not convinced? Come. If you're not convinced, let's have a duel. The quantifying formula shouted. Lu Ming had a headache. The quantifying formula was indeed heaven-defying, but the only downside was that he talked too much. It seemed like it would be difficult for him to have peace in the future. Not good. At this time, Lu Ming suddenly felt a strong sense of danger. He could feel a powerful energy coming down from the sky towards him. Without thinking, Lu Ming used his remaining strength and jumped to the side. Boom! A fist force bombarded the place where Lu Ming was just standing, creating a huge hole in the ground. Your spiritual sense is quite sharp. You can still avoid my attack, even though you're injured. In the sky, a voice filled with murderous intent was heard. Kuang Dao. Lu Ming whispered with a gloomy face. The person who had ambushed him was Kuang Dao, who was ranked 5th on the empty god list. Lu Ming, I'm here today to take your life. Kuang Dao shouted. His gaze swept across the scene. When he saw the ground covered with the corpses of the netherworld dragons and dragonbone flowers, his eyes burned with passion. Lu Ming and the rest had actually killed so many netherworld dragons and dragonbone flowers, which shocked him. At the same time, he was overjoyed. He knew that he had made the right choice. Although Lu Ming and the rest had killed a large number of netherworld dragons and dragonbone flowers, they had also suffered serious injuries. Loser, you still dare to appear in front of me. Then you'll stay here forever. Lu Ming said coldly. Ha ha ha. You don't have to scare me here. You're strong and can actually kill so many netherworld dragons. But now, you're all seriously injured and can't even use 10% of your strength. You still want to kill me? Kuang Dao laughed arrogantly. Chapter 2709. Dao laughed wildly. His eyes were cold and filled with a cruel light. Boom! Then, a powerful aura exploded from Kuang Dao's body. True God Realm. True God Realm aura exploded from Kuang Dao's body. Obviously, he wasn't an empty God Realm expert, but had already broken through to the True God Realm. This was normal. Those who were at the top of the empty God list had already reached the limit of the empty God Realm and could have broken through to the True God Realm. However, they had suppressed their cultivation for the Nether Dragon's secret territory that only opened once every 100,000 years. Once they entered the Nether Dragon's secret territory, they would be able to break through. Kuang Dao was such a person. Oh no! Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's faces changed drastically. Kuang Dao was originally a top genius. After breaking through to the True God Realm, his combat strength would be even more shocking. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, are you feeling despair? Today, the 3 of you will be the ones to die. Kuang Dao laughed loudly as his violent aura pressed down on Lu Ming. He wanted to see Lu Ming's expression of despair, and even see Lu Ming begging for mercy. Unfortunately, he was destined to be disappointed. Lu Ming only frowned slightly. Lu Ming was trying to think of a countermeasure. Pretending to be calm. I want you to kneel before me. Lu Ming's expression made Kuang Dao unhappy. He took a step forward, causing the void to tremble as he punched out. A fist force, as huge as a mountain, pressed down on Lu Ming. Swoosh! Lu Ming took out a middle-grade divine artifact long spear and thrust it out. Boom! The long spear pierced the fist force, and there was a loud explosion. Thereafter, the spear gleam collapsed and Lu Ming was sent flying by the powerful force, sliding thousands of meters away. Humph, you still want to fight me? You're courting death. Kuang Dao snorted. Now that he had broken through to the true divinity realm, his confidence had greatly increased. Not to mention that Lu Ming was heavily injured. Even if he wasn't injured, he had full confidence in suppressing Lu Ming. Back when he had been injured by Lu Ming and forced to flee, leaving Lan Shang and Huang Qingan behind, he had regarded it as a great humiliation. Today, he would make Lu Ming pay 10 times the price. Damn it, my physical body is too heavily injured. I can't activate double combat strength, let alone triple combat strength. Lu Ming steadied himself. Thoughts flashed through his mind as he thought of countermeasures. Previously, in order to deal with the Nether Dragon Beast King, Lu Ming had been struck by the Nether Dragon Beast King's energy. His physical body had been severely injured, and he couldn't even sustain double power. This was because triggering double or even triple battle prowess had a very high requirement on one's physical body. If one's physical body wasn't strong enough, one wouldn't be able to withstand it and would be torn apart by the powerful force. Now that Lu Ming's body was injured, he couldn't hold on either. Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng were anxious. Unfortunately, their injuries were more serious, and they couldn't help at all. Kid, don't worry. I still have a surge of energy in my body. I'll transfer it into your body now. It will not only heal your injuries faster, but also help you break through in a short time. Then, the voice of the measure formula was heard. Really? Lu Ming was overjoyed. Of course. I like you, and I'm determined to nurture you into an overlord. How can I let you die like this? Kid, be careful. As soon as the measure formula finished speaking, Lu Ming felt a surge of energy emerge from the measure formula. This energy was extremely pure and without any impurities. It could be easily refined. Refine. Lu Ming circulated the universe 10,000 Tao art with all his might to refine the energy. In an instant, large amounts of energy were refined and seeped into the depths of Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's injuries were recovering at an astonishing speed. The 4 divine fires in his body that were already exhausted burned fiercely and constantly grew stronger. Lu Ming's aura suddenly became stronger. Kuang Dao also felt it, and his eyes narrowed. This kid is evil. Let's cripple him first. Kuang Dao didn't talk nonsense and directly attacked. His fist force was like a mountain, blasting towards Lu Ming. Buzz! The long spear in Lu Ming's hand vibrated continuously. At this moment, Lu Ming activated double combat strength. A spear light rushed up and collided with Kuang Dao's fist force. The energy was rampant. This time, Lu Ming blocked the fist force of Crazy Dao. He blocked it. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's eyes lit up. Kuang Dao, even though you have broken through, your combat strength is only SOSO. Lu Ming's eyes were like stars as his aura became stronger and stronger. Soon it reached the peak. This kid, die. Kuang Dao was shocked and then enraged. His divine force surged as he executed a divine skill. Overbearing divine fist. Kuang Dao continuously punched out with his fists. His fist force was like a comet falling from the sky. It was much more terrifying than when he was in the empty god realm. However, Lu Ming's current combat strength was also much stronger than before. The Armageddon 3 strikes had broken through to the 2nd level. Swoosh! Lu Ming executed the first style of the Armageddon 3 strikes, sky-piercing. Spear gleams burst forth and soared into the sky, constantly bombarding Kuang Dao's fist force. Lu Ming broke the fist force one by one. Lu Ming's figure quickly approached Kuang Dao. Suddenly, Lu Ming's spear force changed and became stronger. The battle character art activated triple combat strength. Boom! Lu Ming swept out with his spear. The spear light was as huge as a mountain, and it brought with it a terrifying aura. This was Lu Ming's current peak combat strength. Such combat strength made Kuang Dao's eyes shrink. Without hesitation, Kuang Dao unleashed the secret technique that increased his battle prowess. Instantly, his battle prowess doubled. Boom! 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 The 2 of them had raised their combat strength to the maximum, and they continuously attacked each other in the air. In the blink of an eye, the 2 of them had exchanged more than 10 blows. To be honest, Kuang Dao was very strong. He was originally ranked 5th on the empty god list. Now that he had broken through to the level 1 true god realm, his combat strength had increased tremendously. When Kuang Dao was at the level 9 empty god realm, he could already defeat a level 1 true god. Now that he had broken through to the true god realm, he could even kill a level 2 true god. Defeating and killing were 2 completely different concepts. Hence, after a long battle, Lu Ming was still at a disadvantage and he was forced to retreat. Quick! Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were anxious. The 2 of them tried their best to refine the healing divine pill as they wanted to recover some of their strength as soon as possible. As long as they recovered some of their strength, they would not be afraid of Kwang Dao. "Lu Ming, go to hell, go to hell!" Kwang Dao roared. At that moment, he was extremely shocked. Lu Ming's strength was much stronger than the last time he had fought with him. He was only at the level 5 empty god realm, and yet he was so strong. It was unheard of. Kwang Dao had thought that he could easily suppress Lu Ming after breaking through to the true god realm. However, the truth was not so. He naturally did not know that Lu Ming did not have time to use the battle character art to double his combat strength. Moreover, the destructive 3 strikes was only at the first level. Now that he had used his full strength, his combat strength was much stronger than before. Chapter 27:10. Lu Ming and Kwang Dao exchanged more than 10 blows, and Lu Ming was pushed back a few hundred miles. However, at this moment, the energy in Lu Ming's body was surging continuously. The energy that gushed out from the bright character art was too strong and pure. It could be absorbed and refined quickly. The divine power in Lu Ming's body grew stronger, and the 4 divine fires in his elixir field grew brighter. In just a short while, Lu Ming's cultivation rank had reached the peak. The peak of rank 5 empty god realm. Breakthrough! Lu Ming bellowed. He circulated the heaven and earth 10,000 Dao arts and started to break through to the 6th level of the void god realm. Boom! There was a loud explosion in Lu Ming's body. Afterward, Lu Ming's aura suddenly soared, breaking through the peak and reaching another peak. Rank 6 empty god realm. Lu Ming's cultivation level had successfully reached level 6 of the void god realm. His divine power was much stronger, and his combat strength had also increased tremendously. Virum! The long spear shook and swept out. The spear radiance shone brightly and destroyed Kwang Dao's 9 fist forces. Kwang Dao's face changed, and he threw out a punch with all his might. It collided with Lu Ming's long spear. Dong! There was a muffled explosion as the sky shook violently. Then Kwang Dao's body shook violently as he was blasted away by a terrifying force. He retreated dozens of miles. Your cultivation rank, how is that possible? Kwang Dao shouted in disbelief. Lu Ming had been severely injured, and Kwang Dao could not have sensed wrongly. However, Lu Ming's injuries had healed all of a sudden. Moreover, his combat strength was much stronger than the last time he had fought with Kwang Dao. Kwang Dao was already in disbelief. However, in the midst of the battle, Lu Ming's cultivation rank had increased. It was a miracle. He must have used some terrifying secret skill. He won't be able to hold on for long. Kill, kill! Kwang Dao shouted in his heart. His eyes were ferocious, and he attacked Lu Ming with all his might. Today the one who will die is you. Lu Ming said coldly. He had just broken through, and there seemed to be an endless amount of energy in his body. The most shocking thing was that his cultivation rank had not stopped increasing, and was still climbing towards rank 7 empty god realm. The energy that emerged from the measure formula was too strong. Even now it was far from being completely refined. Whoosh! Lu Ming used the first move of the 3 annihilating strikes, sky-piercing. A dazzling spear light tore through the void and charged towards Kwang Dao. Boom! The 2 of them collided like 2 meteors. Following that, Kwang Dao was once again sent flying. His body trembled nonstop as a wound appeared on his body, and blood flowed out. After Lu Ming broke through to level 6 void god realm, his combat strength was completely above Kwang Dao. After Lu Ming repelled Kwang Dao, he did not give his opponent a chance to catch his breath. He continued to charge at his opponent, his spear light sweeping across, enveloping Kwang Dao. Boom! 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 The 2 of them clashed continuously, and in an instant they had exchanged dozens of blows. Crazy Dao was no match for them, and he kept retreating. Damn it! D*MN it! Kwang Dao screamed in his heart, feeling extremely indignant. He had originally come to kill Lu Ming, but he had not expected to be suppressed by Lu Ming in the end. He was so frustrated that he wanted to vomit blood. He began to think of retreating. Lu Ming, you have killed so many of our men. You will definitely die. Just you wait. I will settle this score with you. With that, Kuang Dao started to charge madly, wanting to escape. Today, you will not be able to escape, Lu Ming said coldly. He thrust out several spear gleams toward Kuang Dao. However, Kuang Dao started to fight with all his might, even burning his divine power. He was about to escape. Lu Ming, just you wait. Soon, I will make sure that you die without a burial place. Kuang Dao roared ferociously. However, at that moment, Lu Ming's aura suddenly surged. The terrifying aura was like a huge wave, pressing down on Kuang Dao. Kuang Dao's eyes widened rapidly, and he shouted hysterically, Rank 7 empty god realm, impossible, impossible. He was scared silly. Lu Ming had just broken through to rank 6 empty god realm, but now he was about to break through to rank 7 empty god realm. This was beyond terrifying. Previously, when Lu Ming had broken through to rank 6 empty god realm, it was still possible that he had reached the peak of rank 5 empty god realm for a long time, and it was not impossible for him to break through. However, he had just broken through to rank 6 empty god realm, and now he was about to break through to rank 7 empty god realm. What was going on? This, from afar, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng looked at each other, dumbfounded. Shouldn't one's cultivation progress be done step by step? How could there be continuous breakthroughs like this? Boom! At that moment, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached rank 7 empty god realm, and his combat strength had reached the peak, completely suppressing Kuang Dao. Boom! The long spear swept out, breaking through all of Kuang Dao's attacks and defense, and hit his body. Kuang Dao screamed in pain, and half of his body was smashed. His body flew out like a cannonball, and he vomited blood. He was almost split into two, and his aura was weak. He was severely injured. Kill! Lu Ming charged towards Kuang Dao, and he became one with his spear. He turned into a dazzling spear radiance and stabbed towards Kuang Dao's forehead. No, no! Kuang Dao was scared out of his wits, and he frantically retreated, trying to dodge the attack. However, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached rank 7 empty god realm, and Kuang Dao was severely injured. How could he dodge the attack? Poof! The spear radiance pierced through Kuang Dao's forehead, and his soul was extinguished. Kuang Dao, who was ranked number 5 on the empty god list, had fallen. After killing Kuang Dao, Lu Ming kept Kuang Dao's storage ring and his long spear. He then sat down with his legs crossed and stabilized his cultivation base. He had broken through 2 levels in one go, and this speed was too shocking. He needed to stabilize his cultivation base. 2 hours later, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's injuries had stabilized, and they came to Lu Ming's side to protect him. After 3 days, Lu Ming finally ended his cultivation. His cultivation base had completely stabilized at rank 7 empty god realm. This quantifier formula is really mysterious and unfathomable. Lu Ming exclaimed. A surge of energy surged out from the quantifying word skill, and his cultivation base had broken through 2 levels. If this news were to spread, it would cause a huge uproar. Brat, now you know how powerful I am. The quantifying word skill said proudly, It is indeed powerful. I wonder when you will give me another surge of energy? Lu Ming said with a smile. Of course, he was communicating through his mind, and Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng could not hear him. You wish. I need to absorb a large amount of energy to refine before I can pass it to you. The previous energy has been used up. In the future, if you find a treasure that contains a large amount of energy for me to devour, I will then have energy for you. Do you understand? The quantifying word skill said unhappily. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and nodded his head. So that was the case. However, this was normal. If he could pass on an unlimited amount of energy, his cultivation base would continue to increase, and he would become a true god, or even a true god. Chapter 27:11. He shook his head and got rid of this unrealistic idea. Cultivation needed to be done step by step. This time he broke through 2 levels at once. Even if the measure formula still had energy, he couldn't continue to improve. He needed time to stabilize it. However, since the measure formula had such a heaven-defying effect, he couldn't waste it. How could he find a treasure with powerful energy for the measure formula to absorb? Lu Ming began to think. Boy, even if there's no treasure with powerful energy, I can absorb the energy between heaven and earth all the time and slowly accumulate energy. It's just that the speed is much slower. The measure formula said again. Is that possible? Lu Ming was elated. He sensed it carefully. True enough, he discovered that the energy of heaven and earth was slowly gathering toward him and surging into the quantifier formula. Although it was slow, it would accumulate over a long period of time, and it would be very impressive. Boy, if you want to accumulate energy as soon as possible, I can guide you to a place in this secret realm. There's a treasure there. If I absorb and refine it, I'm sure it can improve your cultivation by a lot. The measure formula continued. There's such a treasure? Where is it? Lu Ming asked quickly. He was a little excited. He had tasted the sweetness just now and was looking forward to it. That place is called Night Dragon Cave. There's a kind of night dragon blood jade inside, which contains terrifying energy. As long as you get it and let me refine it, I'll transfer the energy to you. Then your cultivation will skyrocket. The measure formula said. Okay, I'll go. I'll definitely go. Lu Ming made up his mind. Phew! After communicating with the measure formula, Lu Ming took a deep breath and ended his cultivation. Lu Ming, you can break through your cultivation continuously. That's crazy! Yu Linglong shouted exaggeratedly when she saw that Lu Ming had ended his cultivation. I was lucky. I had a fortuitous encounter in the past and accumulated a surge of energy. Just now, when I was in danger, I risked my life and unleashed all of it. I didn't expect that my gamble was correct and allowed my cultivation to increase by a level. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Despite Lu Ming's explanation, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were still shocked. That's right. I know of a place in the Nether Dragon Mystery Realm called the Night Dragon Cave. There might be treasures inside. Should we go check it out? Lu Ming's tone changed. Yes, of course, Yu Linglong said. She was very curious. Once she heard that there were treasures, how could she not go? Of course, before they left, there was one more thing they had to do, and that was the Nether Dragon's beast core. The 3 of them worked together to collect the Nether Dragon's beast core and left. However, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng had not fully recovered from their injuries. They had not recovered to their peak condition yet. The 3 of them immediately found a secluded place. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng focused on healing their injuries. After a few more days, their injuries were completely healed. Their cultivation and battle strength had also returned to their peak condition. Currently, there were only 6 days left until the 3-month deadline. Lu Ming immediately headed toward the Night Dragon Cave under the guidance of the quantifying character formula. The Night Dragon Cave was located deep inside the Nether Dragon Mystery Realm. As the 3 of them advanced, there were still nether dragons and dragonbone flowers attacking them. They were all attracted by the Nether Dragon blood curse in Lu Ming's body. Of course, with Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng's current strength, it was easy for them to kill the nether dragons and dragonbone flowers. It took them 3 days to reach the Night Dragon Cave that the quantifying character formula had pointed out. Along the way, they had a great harvest. They had killed a large number of nether dragons and dragonbone flowers, obtaining a large amount of beast cores and dragon bones. The 3 of them split the beast cores and dragon bones equally. Lu Ming now had enough beast cores and dragon bones to exchange for 50,000 points. This time he had achieved his initial goal of coming in. 50,000 points were enough to exchange for the first layer of a sacred technique. This is the Night Dragon Cave? Lu Ming, are you mistaken? Yu Linglong was a little shocked as she looked at the splashing lake water in front of them. At this moment, there was an endless lake in front of them. Where was the cave? There's a formation here that's affecting our senses. Don't worry about it. We'll just go straight ahead. Lu Ming said. Of course. This was what the quantifying character formula had told him. The three of them stepped forward. After walking for a while, they suddenly felt a layer of barrier in front of them. It was like a layer of bubbles. Don't use your divine power to block it. The stronger your divine power, the stronger the barrier. We won't be able to go in. We can go in without divine power. Lu Ming reminded them again. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng nodded. They didn't use their divine power to block it and stepped forward. With a poof, the three of them seemed to have passed through a layer of bubbles. The next moment, they arrived in a dark tunnel. The three of them were stunned. There was really a formation here. The previous ones were all illusions. Lu Ming couldn't help but be amazed by the wonders of the formation. The more divine power was used, the stronger the barrier. When ordinary people encountered such a barrier, they would subconsciously use their divine power. That way, they wouldn't be able to pass through. Only by not using divine power could they pass through the formation. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng looked at Lu Ming curiously. In their hearts, Lu Ming was becoming more and more unfathomable. Is Lu Ming really an outer disciple who just joined the sect? Yu Linglong blinked her big eyes and took a few more glances at Lu Ming. Of course. She wasn't interested in Lu Ming. She was just curious. Let's be careful. Lu Ming reminded them. The three of them retracted their auras and walked deeper into the tunnel. The tunnel was quiet and very long. The three of them walked for a few thousand meters before reaching the end. They arrived at a huge underground cave. The cave was empty. Only an altar attracted their attention. The altar was engraved with densely packed runes that looked like miniature true dragons that were entwined together. At the top, there was a piece of blood jade. There were actually small blood dragons swimming in it. There were different kinds of gemstones embedded in other parts of the altar. They were of different colors. That's a rainbow divine stone. Suddenly, Yu Linglong exclaimed. Her eyes lit up as she stared at the 7-colored gemstones. Rainbow divine stone? Lu Ming was puzzled. He had never heard of such a gemstone. It's really a rainbow divine stone. The rainbow divine stone can be used to refine a type of healing pill. It has a strong recovery effect on the divine body. It can even heal the injuries of a heaven god. It can be sold for a high price. Yu Linglong's eyes lit up. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Then his eyes lit up. To be able to concoct a healing divine pill that could even help heavenly gods. Its value was definitely extremely high. The higher the cultivation, the stronger the divine body. Once injured, it would be harder to recover. Chapter 27:12. The stronger one's cultivation was, the harder it was to recover from injuries. For example, Lu Ming had cultivated the indestructible heaven scroll, which was a heavenly skill in the heaven world. No matter how serious his injuries were, he could recover quickly. His vitality was shockingly strong, and he was known to be immortal. However, it was only effective for those below the demigod realm. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached level 7 empty god realm, and his divine body was strong. Now that he was injured, using the indestructible heaven scroll to heal his injuries would be ineffective. It was the same for healing elixirs. For those with higher cultivation, it was naturally more valuable. The rainbow sacred stone could be used to refine elixirs that were useful for heavenly gods. Its value was unimaginable. Kid, wait a minute. Don't go over. At this moment, the voice of the measure formula suddenly rang out. Lu Ming jumped and quickly shouted, wait a minute. Don't go over. The reason for that was because at that moment, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were about to approach the altar to retrieve the 7-colored divine stones. After being shouted by Lu Ming, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were shocked and stopped in their tracks. What's wrong? Yu Linglong asked. Shaking his head, Lu Ming did not speak. In fact, he did not know what was in front of them. There is a large array in front. Once you step in, you will be trapped by the array. The measure formula said. It's another array. Lu Ming frowned. The array in the primitive universe was far more mysterious than the primordial realm. With Lu Ming's attainments in array formations, he could not see through it. If there is an array, how do we get the nether dragon blood jade? Lu Ming asked the measure formula with his mind. Of course, we have to find the formation I of the grand formation and break it. Hey, you were familiar with that formation guy back then, so you should have some understanding of formation Tao. Can you break it and find the formation I of this grand formation? The measure formula asked the battle formula. Lu Ming's heart jumped. Array. Could it be another origin ancient word? Array. As soon as he heard those words, he could tell that it was incredibly useful in the field of formations. You talk too much. I'm looking for it. The battle's symbol, Ju's deep voice rang out. Hey, what are you talking about? What nonsense. You better make it clear to me today, or else I won't let you off. The measuring character formula shouted. The entire character was jumping as if it was going to pounce on the battle character formula. Lu Ming was speechless. A single word could actually give birth to such a weird personality. The battle character formula didn't bother with the measure character formula. It seemed to be sizing up the formation, looking for a way to crack it. Ha ha ha, someone's finally here. Right at this moment, laughter suddenly rang out from within the cave. Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng jumped in fright. They hadn't expected there to be someone else in the cave. Who? Yu Linglong shouted. The three of them looked behind the altar. At that moment, a figure walked out from behind the altar. This person had actually been hiding behind the altar. Just now, the altar had blocked this person's figure. Moreover, his aura was concealed very well. They didn't discover him at all. This was a young man who looked to be in his 20s. He was very handsome and had an extraordinary bearing on him. Moreover, the aura exuding from this person was extremely powerful. He was also a true god realm existence. There was actually someone who had already entered here. Junior brothers and sisters, I'm Sky Star. The young man cupped his fists and said, What? You said you're Sky Star? Impossible. Yu Linglong cried out in disbelief when she heard this name. Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng were a little surprised. Why would Yu Linglong have such a big reaction when she heard this name? Moreover, she revealed an expression of disbelief. Junior sister, I'm indeed Sky Star, the young man said with a smile. Linglong, who is Sky Star? Wu Zifeng asked. 100,000 years ago, the number one on the Kongshan School's empty god list was called Sky Star. However, 100,000 years ago, the Nether Dragon's secret realm opened. Sky Star entered the Nether Dragon's secret realm and never returned. Everyone thought that he had fallen. Yu Linglong said, The number one on the empty god list 100,000 years ago. Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng's eyes flashed. Could this person really be Sky Star? Junior brothers and sisters, I'm indeed Sky Star. 100,000 years ago, I entered the Nether Dragon's secret realm and didn't fall. I just missed the time to leave because I wanted to obtain the treasures here. Junior brothers and sisters, you've come at the right time. There's a 7-colored divine stone and a Nether Dragon blood jade on this altar. They're both priceless treasures. However, they're inlaid on this altar and are difficult to remove. Junior brothers and sisters, please lend me a hand and remove them. We'll split them equally. Sky Star said, Don't believe him. There's a large array here. This kid is trapped by the array and can't get out. Once you get close to the altar, you'll also be trapped by the array and share his pressure. That way, he'll have a chance to break out of the array. The quantifying character formula called out. The quantifying character formula had been around for a long time. Although it wasn't proficient in arrays, it still had a good eye. Wait a minute. Lu Ming stopped Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng, who were ready to move. He then looked at Sky Star and said, Senior Brother Sky, since the seven-colored divine stone and nether dragon blood jade are so difficult to remove. Why don't you leave with us first and call for more helpers? It'll be much easier that way." "No." Sky Star said, "The treasures are limited. How are we going to split them if we call for more helpers? Junior brothers and sisters, don't hesitate. I've studied this altar for 100,000 years, and am very familiar with it. As long as we work together, we'll definitely be able to take the treasures on it." "Is that so?" Lu Ming smiled faintly, which surprised Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. "Why aren't you helping me yet?" Void Star shouted, clearly impatient. "Haha, you don't need to shout. I can already see that there's a large array here. You're trapped by it and can't get out. That's why you've been trapped for 100,000 years. If we go forward, we'll also be trapped by the array. At that time, we'll help you share the pressure and you'll be able to escape, right?" Lu Ming said with a smile. "What?" Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's expressions changed. On the other hand, Sky Star's face turned sullen. He did not expect Lu Ming to be able to tell what was going on and see through his intentions. "Don't guess blindly. Come over quickly and take the treasures here together." Sky Star's voice became louder, and there was an unquestionable majesty in it. Back then, he was ranked first on the Empty God list and was the top person in the outer sect. Naturally, he had an imposing manner. Back then, there were very few people in the outer sect who dared to go against his will. However, Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng were all extraordinary people. How could they care about him? Not only did the three of them not advance, they even retreated a few steps. "Good, very good. If you won't come in, then I'll pull you in," Sky Star said coldly, completely turning hostile. A powerful aura erupted from his body. Chapter 27:13. Sky Star had completely turned hostile as he unleashed a terrifying aura that surged towards Lu Ming's group. Third level True God Realm. Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng's expressions changed. Sky Star's cultivation was not at the first level True God Realm, but the third level True God Realm. Even though he had been trapped by the array in the Nether Dragon's secret domain for many years, his cultivation had still broken through and reached the third level True God Realm. Whoosh! 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 Sky Star attacked. With a wave of his hand, his palm prints filled the sky and enveloped Lu Ming's group. "Attack!" Yu Linglong shouted and immediately attacked. She did not dare to be careless in the slightest when facing Sky Star. She immediately attacked with her full strength. At the same time, Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng also attacked. All kinds of attacks collided with Sky Star's palm prints. Boom! 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 Intense, rumbling sounds could be heard coming from the cave as all sorts of attacks exploded out. Shockwaves spread out in all directions, shattering Void Star's palm imprints. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng were forced to retreat. Sky Star was indeed worthy of being ranked first on the Empty God list 100,000 years ago. His battle strength was shocking, and ordinary supreme talents could not compare to him. If he had not been trapped by the array, his cultivation would not have reached the third level True God Realm and would have reached a shocking realm. However, Lu Ming and the other two were also very powerful. When Sky Star exchanged blows with the three of them, he was also forced to retreat a few steps. "You have some strength." Sky Star's eyes were filled with shock. He did not expect Lu Ming's group to be able to block his attack. 100,000 years ago, in the Kongshan School's outer area, he had no opponents who were at the same level as him. Now, his cultivation was far above Lu Ming's group, but he was not able to suppress them. This was beyond his expectations. "Let's see how many of my moves you can block. Get over here." Sky Star shouted coldly as he stepped forward. He stretched out his palm, and a series of palm prints appeared and blasted towards the three. The power of each move was stronger than before and gave off a strong pressure. Yu Linglong's and Wu Zifeng's faces turned grave as they circulated their divine power to the maximum. As for Lu Ming, he continuously activated the battle formula. Boom! After continuous attempts, Lu Ming finally activated his tripled combat strength. Whoosh! Lu Ming cast the first move of the 3 destructive strikes, sky-piercing. In an instant, spear gleams appeared in the void like meteors, colliding with Sky Star's palm print. Whoosh! 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 He had to admit that the Sky Star was indeed very powerful. Lu Ming sensed a gush of terrifying energy surging toward him. He retreated hurriedly. The qi and blood in his body were surging, and he almost vomited blood. What Suemo did not know was that Sky Star was even more shocked. Although he did not use his full strength, he was a level 3 true god. His attack was blocked by Lu Ming alone, and Lu Ming was only a level 7 empty god. I never thought that such a powerful genius would appear in the Kongshan school after I was trapped for 100,000 years. But today, your days will come to an end. Sky Star's eyes were filled with murderous intent and deep jealousy. Yes, jealousy. It was obvious that Lu Ming's combat ability and talent were far above his. He wanted to kill him completely. Whoosh! He moved and was about to pounce on Lu Ming. Lu Ming and the other 2 gathered together and planned to give it their all. However, just as Sky Star was close to them, runes suddenly appeared on the ground. These runes were dazzling and filled with energy. It was extremely strange. At the same time, runes also appeared on Sky Star's body. They were exactly the same as the runes on the ground. These runes were like tentacles that wrapped around Sky Star's body tightly. Sky Star's pouncing figure came to an abrupt halt in the air and could not move forward. He is trapped by the array and can't leave the range of the array. Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he said to Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong, "Damn it!" Sky Star roared and unleashed his full strength. He wanted to break out of the array, but to no avail. He could not break out of the array's obstruction. "It seems like you can't get out." Lu Ming sneered and mocked. "All of you, hurry up and get over here. Help me break this damned formation. Otherwise, when I get out, I'll tear all of you to pieces." Seeing that he couldn't escape, Void Star roared madly and began to threaten them. "You still want to come out? Now, you are a fish on the chopping block. Instead of begging us, you are threatening us. You are digging your own grave." Lu Ming said coldly, "I heard that Sky Star is a narrow-minded person who takes revenge. 100,000 years ago, he was not the first on the Kongshan school's empty god list, but it was another person. He killed that person and took the first place. If we don't kill him today, he will definitely take revenge on us when he comes out." Yu Linglong said coldly, "Then get rid of him." Wu Zifeng said, since they had offended someone like Sky Star, they had to get rid of him. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble in the future. "Attack!" Lu Ming immediately attacked. Standing in the distance, he attacked with a spear light and attacked Sky Star. At the same time, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng also attacked. They used their killing moves and attacked Sky Star. Sky Star made a move to block the attacks of Lu Ming and the other 2. "You want to kill me with just the 3 of you? Dream on." Sky Star shouted coldly. His eyes were extremely ferocious and evil. He could not wait to cut Lu Ming and the others into pieces. Lu Ming and the other 2 kept attacking, but they were all blocked by Sky Star. Their cultivation was not as good as Sky Star's. Moreover, they were attacking from a distance, so their attack power was naturally reduced. Lu Ming frowned. In this way, it was indeed difficult for them to kill Sky Star. If they could not kill Sky Star, they would not be able to get the Nether, Dragon Blood Jade, and the Rainbow Divine Stone. This large formation has a few Death Formation eyes. Once attacked, the formation's power will increase sharply. Lu Ming, attack the Death Formation eyes. At this time, the voice of the battle character manual sounded. He finally found some of the formation eyes of this large formation and immediately instructed Lu Ming on how to attack. Okay, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He changed the direction of his spear, and the spear light changed direction. Instead of attacking Skystar, he attacked an empty space. Boom! When Lu Ming's spear light attacked that empty space, the runes of the large formation suddenly shone brightly and became more powerful. At the same time, the runes wrapped around Skystar's body also became more powerful. They were like steel cables that tightly tightened, trying to break Skystar's body into pieces. Oh, what's going on? Damn it, what did you do? Skystar suddenly screamed in horror. Then his body trembled and he vomited blood. Die, Lu Ming said coldly. He attacked again, attacking the death formation eyes of the large formation, increasing the power of the large formation. Skystar could not bear it anymore. Cracks appeared on his body, and he vomited blood. He was seriously injured. Chapter 27:14. A large array would usually have a life gate or a death gate. These life gates and death gates could also be used as the array eye. The life array eye and the death array eye. Attacking the life array eye would break the large array, but attacking the death array eye would trigger the power of the large array, making it even more terrifying. Lu Ming was attacking the death array eye of this large array, making the power of the large array even more terrifying. The Skystar could not withstand it all and was severely injured in an instant. Save me! Save me! Void Star roared in horror. His eyes were filled with deep unwillingness. Go in peace, Lu Ming said coldly. Since he had offended such a person, he had to get rid of him. Otherwise, he would only bring trouble to himself. Swoosh! Lu Ming continued to attack the death array eye. Ah! Skystar screamed in despair and roared. You will die a horrible death! You will die a horrible death! In the next moment, the large array shone. Under the power of the large array, Skystar's body exploded and turned into dust. Skystar, the #1 supreme talent on the Kongshen School's empty god list 100,000 years ago, had died under the large array. This guy is finally dead. Yu Linglong heaved a sigh of relief. Skystar was indeed powerful. If it were not for the large array blocking him, the three of them would not be his match even if they joined forces. After all, Skystar's cultivation was at level 3 True God. Lu Ming, can you understand this large array? Wu Zifeng looked at Lu Ming and asked, A little. Lu Ming nodded and did not say much. He then scanned the ground. At the same time, the battle word manual told him the location of the life array eye. Breaking the life array, I will not completely break the large array. It will only suppress it for a short period of time. You only have 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you must leave the range of the large array. Otherwise, you will be trapped. The battle word manual said. 10 minutes is enough. Lu Ming muttered. He then started to attack the life array eye according to the battle word manual's instructions. Bang, bang, bang. One attack after another landed on the ground, but the ground only emitted a slight sound. Those attacks were like stones sinking into the sea. However, the runes on the ground dimmed and then disappeared. The formation is being suppressed. Let's hurry up and take down all the rainbow divine stones within 10 minutes. Lu Ming shouted and dashed toward the altar. He grabbed at the nether dragon blood jade with his palm. His goal this time was the nether dragon blood jade. Bang! The nether dragon blood jade was firmly embedded into the altar. Lu Ming's grab was actually unable to grab it. It only caused the altar to shake. At the same time, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng also rushed over and tried to grab a rainbow immortal stone. However, they didn't manage to grab it because it was embedded firmly. This was also because the formation was being suppressed. If the formation wasn't suppressed, they would have been stopped by the formation and wouldn't be able to do anything to the nether dragon blood jade or the rainbow divine stone. If we can't take it down, why don't we just destroy this altar? Yu Linglong suggested. Okay, destroy it. Lu Ming nodded. They only had 10 minutes, so they had to end this quickly. The three of them retreated a few steps, and each of them unleashed their strongest attacks. 3 attacks blasted towards the altar. Boom! 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 The altar shook violently, and a crack appeared on its surface. It was effective. The three attacked even harder. In less than 2 minutes, the entire altar exploded with a boom. The nether, dragon blood jade, and the rainbow divine stone flew out. Lu Ming's figure moved like an arrow and flew out, grabbing the nether dragon blood jade in his hand. At the same time, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng also reached out and grabbed the rainbow divine stones. Whoa! At this moment, the entire cavern began to shake. Then, on the ground and on the walls of the cavern, numerous runes suddenly appeared. Then, a yellow liquid suddenly appeared on the ground. Sizzle! The feet of the three were touched by the yellow liquid, making sizzling sounds and wisps of green smoke. The corrosiveness of this liquid was shockingly strong. One had to know that the three of them were surrounded by divine power, but this liquid could even corrode their divine power. If it landed on their bodies would be directly corroded. The three of them were shocked and immediately flew up. However, the amount of yellow liquid on the ground was increasing, as if it was constantly emerging from the ground. It's the god transforming corpse water, an array within an array. There's actually an array within an array here. Can't you see it? In his mind, the measuring character formula shouted. I'm not a professional, the fighting character formula replied. The measuring character formula was so angry that he was trembling. Let's go, let's leave first. Lu Ming roared. The yellow liquid was increasing. Once it filled the entire cave, they would be in danger. The three of them immediately rushed towards the entrance of the cave. However, when they got close to the entrance, a light screen spread out and blocked them. Clearly, this was also a part of the array. Break it! Yu Linglong shouted and kept attacking, but the light screen didn't budge. Then Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng also attacked, but the result was the same. They couldn't break it at all. Ha ha ha, you still want to leave? Let's die together and be buried together with me. A sharp and crazy laughter sounded. Sky Star! Lu Ming and the other two's faces changed. This voice was obviously Sky Star's, but wasn't Sky Star already dead? At this moment, the place where the altar was just now shown and a figure emerged. It was Sky Star. However, Sky Star wasn't real at this moment, but a phantom, a wisp of remnant soul. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Now he understood that Sky Star had indeed perished. However, because he had been trapped in the spell formation for 100,000 years, he had formed a connection with it. After being killed by the spell formation, a wisp of his soul had fused with it. You can't escape it all. Die, die, all of you will die here. Sky Star's eyes were full of madness. He raised his hands, and the runes in the cave shone brighter. The yellow liquid came out faster from the ground, and soon it was a meter deep. Lu Ming and the other two could only hover in the air to avoid it, but they couldn't go on like this. This is the god transforming corpse water. Its corrosive power is terrifying. With our cultivation base, we can't block it at all. What should we do? Yu Linglong's face was a little pale. Continue to attack the light screen. Lu Ming shouted and continued to attack the light screen. Now, they could only get out by breaking this light screen. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng also joined in the attack. Chapter 27:15. Battle Star. Hurry up and find the eye of the formation. Otherwise, these guys will die here and we will be buried here. I finally found a guy who is somewhat pleasing to the eye. I can't let him die like this. The measure formula kept urging the battle formula. I'm looking for it. Cut the crap, and I'll find it faster. The battle formula said unhappily. The measure formula immediately shut up. It's useless. It's useless. You guys can't get out. Stay here and be buried with me. Ha ha ha. Sky Star laughed maniacally. He did his best to stimulate the formation, causing it to emit resplendent light. At this moment, it wasn't just inside the cave, but outside the cave as well. In fact, when Lu Ming and the others destroyed the altar just now, there was a strange sound outside. A beam of light shot up to the sky. It could be seen even from far away. At the same time, the illusion formation that prevented Lu Ming and the others from entering also disappeared. The lake disappeared and was replaced by a peak that reached into the clouds. At this moment, the entire peak was shining brightly. What's that over there? Such a shocking phenomenon. There must be a treasure appearing. Let's go and see. Let's go and see. Everyone who saw this strange phenomenon rushed over. In the cave, Lu Ming and the others were still bombarding the light curtain. However, it was almost useless. The light curtain was still motionless. The god transformation corpse water in the cave was increasing. It was almost half of the cave. What should I do? Am I going to die here today? I don't want to be submerged by the god transformation corpse water. If I'm submerged by the god transformation corpse water, I won't be able to find my body. Yu Linglong was about to cry. He was scared to death at the thought of being submerged by the god transformation corpse water. Don't attack first. Save your strength, Lu Ming said. Since they couldn't break it open, they wouldn't attack. When the battle formula found the eye of the formation, they would concentrate all their strength to attack it. Die, seeing that Lu Ming and the others couldn't break it open. Empty Star screamed crazily. The god transforming corpse water in the cavern quickly filled 2/3 of the cavern. The space that Lu Ming and the other two could move about in was getting smaller and smaller. Found it. Lu Ming, you guys attack a spot 3 feet to the left, quick. At this moment in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness, the voice of the battle character manual rang out. Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he shouted, "Attack the left side together!" Boom! At this moment, Lu Ming used his full strength, directly activating the battle character art to triple his combat strength. He pushed his divine power to the limit, and then used the first move of the 3 Armageddon strikes. Space Splitter! A dazzling spear light blasted towards the left side of the light screen. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng did not suspect anything and attacked with all their might. Boom! 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 3 consecutive powerful attacks landed 3 feet to the left of the light barrier. The light barrier violently shook, and this time a crack appeared on the light barrier. It's effective, continue. Yu Linglong was exhilarated. The 3 of them attacked with their strongest moves again, and the cracks on the light barrier increased. No, impossible, no! Empty Star roared crazily, his face distorted to the extreme. Now he was only left with a wisp of soul, and it would not be long before this wisp of soul completely disappeared. He was unwilling to accept this, and wanted to drag Lu Ming and the other 2 down with him. But now, Lu Ming and the other 2 seemed to be escaping. Lu Ming and the other 2 did not bother with Empty Star and continued to attack. After a few more moves, the light barrier exploded with a bang. Let's go. With the light barrier shattered, Lu Ming and the other 2 rushed out of the passage without hesitation. Damn it! Empty Star roared, and the god transforming corpse water surged, splashing onto the walls above the cavern. Those walls were directly corroded and turned into ashes. Rumble! The entire mountain shook violently, and it seemed like it would collapse at any time. Lu Ming and the other 2 exerted all their strength and quickly rushed out of the passage. As soon as they rushed out, the 3 of them frowned and stopped, because there were many people floating in the air outside, blocking the way. It's him, it's Lu Ming. Someone shouted, recognizing Lu Ming. These people were attracted by the strange phenomenon here, and they did not expect to see Lu Ming and the other 2 running out of the mountain as soon as they arrived. Lu Ming, what did you get in there? Show me. A young man in golden robes stepped out, his eyes flickering as he stared at Lu Ming and the other 2, and said coldly, "Ing Tsang." Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. Ing Tsang was from the Tenho Seiko faction. Back then, he had asked someone to invite Lu Ming to join the Tenho Seiko faction, but Lu Ming had rejected him. At that time, Lu Ming did not know Ing Tsang's identity. Later, he found out that Ing Tsang was ranked 4th on the Empty God list, and also the top expert of the Tenho Seiko faction in the Outer Sect. Ing Song, are you thinking too much? What did I get? Why should I show it to you? Lu Ming sneered, not giving Ing Song any face. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, he did not fear anyone in the outer sect. However, the others did not know Lu Ming's combat strength, and they were all shocked at this moment. This Lu Ming is really bold. How dare he speak to Ing Song like this? He's overestimating himself. He's just courting death. Some people sneered in disdain. Sure enough, Ing Song's eyes darkened. Back then, when Lu Ming had rejected his invitation to join the Tenho Seiko faction, he had wanted to kill Lu Ming. He had ordered the people from the Tenho Seiko faction to kill Lu Ming when they had the chance outside. However, when they went to the Jiwu forest to train, the people from the Tenho Seiko faction had indeed attacked Lu Ming, but they had all died in the hands of Lu Ming. This had enraged Ing Song, and he had been looking for a chance to kill Lu Ming personally. Now he finally had the chance. Someone who has just entered the sect doesn't know how to respect your seniors. Today, I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of the sect. Ing Song said coldly as he took a step forward. A powerful aura burst out and pressed down on Lu Ming. First level True God Realm. Without a doubt, after Ing Song had entered the Nether Dragon's secret territory, his cultivation had also broken through and reached the first level of the True God Realm. With his battle prowess, breaking through to the first stage of the True God Realm was slightly stronger than Quang Dao. However, Lu Ming did not put him in his eyes at all. Just as Lu Ming was about to make a move, rays of light flew over from afar. More people had arrived. Among them, there were a few rays of light that were shockingly fast and emitted a shocking aura. In the blink of an eye, they had arrived. The people at the front were all young men and women. Each of them had an extraordinary aura and were dragons and phoenixes among men. It's Feng Yuandao, ranked second on the Empty God list. There's also Guangzi, ranked third on the Empty God list. Li Kenshin, ranked seventh on the Empty God list. Around them, many people exclaimed and widened their eyes. This was because the people who had just arrived were too powerful. They were all outer disciples of the Kongshin school and were ranked in the top 10 of the Empty God list. Usually, any one of these people would be able to dominate the outer disciples. However, they had arrived one after another. Chapter 27:16. Seeing Feng Yuandao, Feng Zi, Li Kenshin, and the others, Ing Song's face turned solemn as he stopped moving towards Lu Ming. Ing Song, you're quite early. Why? Did you find anything? Feng Yuandao looked at Ing Song with a strange light flickering in his eyes. Obviously, Feng Yuandao suspected that Ing Song had obtained something. Ing Song's complexion changed. He reluctantly squeezed out a smile and said, Brother Feng must be joking. How could I have any harvest? I also just arrived. As for these people, they just came out from that mountain. I'm interrogating them right now. Ing Song did not dare to offend Feng Yuandao. Feng Yuandao's background was not any weaker than his. At the same time, Feng Yuandao's battle strength was above his. He had fought with Feng Yuandao a few times and lost every single time. When he was at the 9th Empty God Realm, Ing Song only had the experience of defeating a True God Realm expert. But Feng Yuandao had the battle record of killing a True God Realm expert. Defeating and killing were two completely different things. Oh! Feng Yuandao turned his gaze towards Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng. When he saw Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng, his eyes narrowed. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were both at the first rank of True God Realm. Obviously, Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong had broken through after entering the Nether Dragon's secret realm. To be able to do so, they were definitely experts amongst experts. On the other hand, Lu Ming, an Empty God Realm expert, was ignored by him. How should I address the two of you? Feng Yuandao cupped his fists towards Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. Yu Linglong. Wu Zifeng. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng replied. Feng Yuandao. Feng Zi Li Kenshin. Ing Song and the others frowned, as they had never heard of the two of them in the outer sect. "Gentlemen, what did you obtain in there?" Feng Yuandao narrowed his eyes and asked. "What did we get? It has nothing to do with you," Yu Linglong said. "What do you mean it's none of your business? Don't you guys know that?" Ing Song's reprimand made Yu Linglong frown. Rumble. Right at this moment, a loud, rumbling sound came from the mountain. Then, with a loud boom, it exploded. The mountain peak exploded and shattered rocks flew everywhere. There was even some divine transformation corpse water among them. "Not good, quickly dodge," Lu Ming shouted, together with Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. Their figures flickered as they dodged the splattering corpse water. Ah! However, there were still people who were splashed by the god-transforming corpse water. Their bodies were corroded, and they let out miserable shrieks. However, after a few moments, the shrieks came to an abrupt end because their entire bodies had been corroded to the point that not even dregs were left. The others were shocked and tried their best to dodge. After everything calmed down, they stopped with lingering fear. However, there were at least 5 to 6 outer disciples who had died under the god-transforming corpse water. "You guys are so vicious. You knew that there was danger inside, but you didn't warn us. Are you trying to trick us?" Ing Song stared coldly at Lu Ming and the other two, directly putting a label on them. "Trick you guys? You think too much. Linglong, Brother Wu, let's go." Lu Ming couldn't be bothered with Ing Song and the others. He flew forward, wanting to leave. "You want to leave? Hand over what you got before you leave." Ing Song shouted coldly. He stretched out his hand and grabbed at Lu Ming. His palm emitted a dazzling golden radiance, as if it was made of gold. "Get lost!" The one who made the move wasn't Lu Ming, but Yu Linglong. A soft whip appeared in her hand. The soft whip was like a poisonous snake, curling towards Ing Song. Bang! The two of them collided. With a loud bang, Yu Linglong retreated 3 steps. However, Ing Song retreated 5 steps, which was more than Yu Linglong. "What?" The others were shocked and looked at Yu Linglong in shock. Yu Linglong actually had such strong combat strength. Not only could she block Ing Song's attack, but Ing Song also retreated more than her. Where did this genius come from? At the side, Feng Yuandao, Madman Li Kunshin, and the others' faces turned solemn. Ing Song also looked at Yu Linglong in shock. After the collision, he knew how powerful Yu Linglong was. Even if he went all out, he might not be a match for Yu Linglong. "I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to leave by yourself." Ing Song turned his gaze and looked at Feng Yuandao and the others, wanting to drag them down with him. "Is that so?" At this moment, Wu Zifeng spoke. He stepped forward, and a shocking aura burst out from his body. Wu Zifeng's aura was stronger than Yu Linglong's, which shocked the others. "It's really lively today." At this moment, a cold voice sounded in the sky. Then a young man stepped on the air and stood above the crowd. This was a young man from the Winged Men tribe. He had a pair of purple wings and a tall figure. His aura was strong, and he carried a sense of arrogance. "It's the Winged Demon, the Winged Demon!" Many people exclaimed. Even Feng Yuandao, Madman, and Ing Song's faces changed drastically. There was no other reason. The Winged Demon was too famous in the Kongshen School's outer sect. He was above everyone. The number 1 on the empty god list, the Winged Demon. That guy is here too. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Of course, he had heard of the number 1 on the empty god list. Swoosh! Swoosh! At this moment, rays of light flew over from afar. There were more and more people here. In just a short while, there were already a few hundred people gathered. "It's Wang Gao. There's Ming Jiao." Many people exclaimed. There were too many experts, and a few of them were among the top 10 on the empty god list. The crowd was shocked to find that 9 of the top 10 on the empty god list were here. Other than Madman, almost all of them were here. When these people knew that Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng had just come out from the mountain, they all looked at Lu Ming and the other two. They even moved slightly and surrounded Lu Ming and the other two to prevent them from escaping. Yes, we can't let them escape. We can't let them escape. At this moment, a sharp voice sounded. It came from the mountain that had just exploded. Everyone couldn't help but look in that direction. There were still rays of light shining from the mountain. Then a figure appeared. It was Sky Star's remnant soul. Who is that? Many people didn't recognize Sky Star and were surprised. You're Sky Star? When the winged demon saw Sky Star, he shouted in shock. He couldn't hide the shock on his face. The winged demon had seen Sky Star before, 100,000 years ago, when Sky Star was still around. He was the number 1 on the empty god list. If Sky Star hadn't disappeared, the winged demon might not have been the number 1 on the empty god list. What? Sky Star? The number 1 on the empty god list 100,000 years ago? Hearing the winged demon's shout, many people recalled. It can't be. It's really him. Didn't they say that he was dead? He's not dead. Many people exclaimed in shock. Chapter 27:17. Sky Star. Feng Yuandao, Feng Zi, Li Kunchen, Ing Song, and the others all looked at Sky Star in shock. They had never imagined that they would meet such a legendary figure here. Winged demon, we meet again. Looks like you've improved a lot. Sky Star glanced at the winged demon and said. Then he looked at Lu Ming's group with a ferocious expression. You can't let them go. They have obtained a supreme treasure. What? Supreme treasure? Many people were shocked. They looked at Lu Ming and the other two, their eyes burning with excitement. Do you know why I disappeared for 100,000 years? It was because I wanted to obtain the treasure here. Unfortunately, I was careless and was trapped by the formation. I didn't expect it to be obtained by him. Sky Star sighed and pointed at Lu Ming. At this point, his body twisted. He hated Lu Ming the most. Lu Ming had seen through his scheme and used the death formation eye of the formation to harm him. All of this was because of Lu Ming. He wanted Lu Ming's end to be extremely miserable. His remnant soul could not hold on for long and was about to dissipate. Thinking that he was about to vanish, his hatred for Lu Ming's group became even more intense. That is a supreme treasure. Once you obtain it, you will definitely soar into the sky and dominate the Qin, heavenly starry sky in the future. It will depend on who is fated to obtain it. Ha ha ha. After saying that, Void Star's body exploded with a bang and turned into ashes, completely disappearing into thin air. However, his words ignited the flames in everyone's hearts. Those were the flames of desire. No one doubted Sky Star's words. Sky Star had stayed here for 100,000 years for that treasure. That was 100,000 years. If the treasure was not precious, why would he stay here for 100,000 years? What kind of treasure could make Sky Star go crazy for it? Boom! 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 At this moment, everyone erupted with a shocking aura. With the winged demon, Feng Yuandao, and the others in the lead, they suppressed Lu Ming's group, especially Lu Ming, because Sky Star had clearly stated that the treasure was in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming, hand over the treasure. Ing Song could not bear it any longer and took the initiative to attack. His entire body was covered in a golden light as he pounced towards Lu Ming. Ing Song, your opponent is me. Yu Linglong brandished her soft whip, which transformed into thousands of whip shadows that swept towards Ing Song. Bang! Bang! The two continued to exchange blows. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. The result was that Ing Song was forced back 1,000 meters, his hands trembling. He was no match for Yu Linglong. Hand over the treasure. Today no one can protect you. The winged demon spoke coldly. He looked down from above and stepped towards Lu Ming. Boom! In the final step, the sole of his foot burst forth with astonishing power. His divine power was like raging waves that pressed down on Lu Ming. They were both first-level true gods, but the winged demon's strength was indeed astonishing. Just this move alone was much stronger than Crazy Dao's. Kongshan Schools, #1 on the empty god list. I'd like to see how strong you are. Wu Zifeng's eyes burst forth with resplendent radiance. His body charged upwards, and his finger was like a sword as he pointed it out. Swish! Swish! Sword chi swept out and collided with the winged demon's attack. A shocking explosion erupted, and the two figures retreated slightly. What? He's so strong? Everyone looked at Wu Zifeng in shock. Wu Zifeng could actually fight with the winged demon. Where did this supreme talent come from? You're not from the Kongshan school. The winged demon looked at Wu Zifeng with a grave expression. Of course not. Wu Zifeng said. His battle intent was even stronger, and his divine power was like an avalanche. Sacred divine power. This person is the same as the winged demon. He controls sacred divine power. This person isn't from the Kongshan school, but he can enter the Nether Dragon's secret territory. Which force does he come from? Many people guessed. Today, you want to protect the treasure with just the two of you? You're too naive. The winged demon said coldly as he glanced at Feng Yuandao and the others. Feng Yuandao, Crazy Dao, Li Kenshin, and the others couldn't wait any longer, and they all charged towards Lu Ming. Brat, hand over the treasure, and I'll spare your life. Li Kenshin roared, taking the initiative to attack. His divine item was a war hammer, and as he swung it, it caused the void to explode. Its power was shocking. The giant hammer smashed towards Lu Ming. It was as if in the next moment, Lu Ming would be smashed into meat paste. However, Lu Ming's face was calm. He took a step forward and threw out a punch without even taking out a weapon. He wanted to use his fist to take on Li Kenshin's giant hammer. This brat is courting death. Some people shook their heads. As soon as Lu Ming attacked, they could see that Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 7th level of the empty god realm. It was already good enough for a 7th level of the empty god realm to enter the Nether Dragon's secret territory. However, he dared to take on Li Kenshin's giant hammer. Wasn't he courting death? However, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were calm. They knew how terrifying Lu Ming's battle strength was. Dong! Lu Ming's fist accurately collided with Li Kenshin's giant hammer. It was as if two stars had collided, causing a loud explosion. However, the result made everyone's jaws drop. After the collision, the one who retreated was Li Kenshin, while Lu Ming's figure only swayed slightly. How is this possible? At this moment, the winged demon, Feng Yuandao, Ing Tsang, and the others' pupils contracted as they revealed an expression of disbelief. Lu Ming was actually able to take on Li Kenshin's attack with his bare hands. Even the winged demon couldn't do it. Lu Ming was only at the 7th level of the empty god realm. How could he have such powerful battle strength? Li Kenshin himself was also in a daze. I don't believe it. Storm God Hammer. Li Kenshin roared as he raised his giant hammer and attacked Lu Ming like a storm. A divine weapon appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It was a middle rank, one divine weapon. Wang. Lu Ming swept out his spear. The long spear carried a terrifying power as it flew towards Li Kenshin. Boom! The two collided for the second time. However, this time Li Kenshin grunted as he was pushed back and spat out a mouthful of blood. This. Everyone was dumbfounded as they thought they were dreaming. Lu Ming was actually suppressing Li Kenshin. In a head-on collision, Li Kenshin spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Li Kenshin was ranked 7th on the empty god list. His battle strength far surpassed other experts of the same level. Moreover, his cultivation had already broken through to the 1st level of the true god realm. Even with such battle strength, he wasn't a match for Lu Ming. What kind of monster was this? At this moment, the winged demon, Feng Yuandao, and the others had grave expressions. Let me tell you, I have indeed obtained a treasure, but it isn't that precious. However, I know that no matter what I say now, you won't believe it. Since you want the treasure, Then I'll accompany you in a battle today." Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand as he looked around and said, "Miss Linglong, Brother Wu, both of you stand down. If they want to fight, I alone am enough.